What's going on, everyone? I would like to formally welcome you all back to a brand new episode of No Neutral. And I can guarantee you something, this week is going to be something special. And there's a variety of reasons. One, of course, is because last week was amazing. The CPT Central America West was phenomenal. We're going to talk about Gama and his run. And then, of course, this week coming up, we have the top 16 of North America West. And I tell you what, I got a little bit of this for y'all. I got a little bit of this because I know how we get down over here. And a lot of y'all about to be salty. And trust me, Big Hollywood is here for it. And first off, of course, it's not just me here. It's not just my guy, the great, the legendary Boomer F, Brian F, whatever you may know him as. Of course, we actually have over in Japan, Team No Motion and the Nye holding it down for us. Big shout out to those guys over there. Brian, how are you feeling about today's show?
I am feeling amazing. And yes, shout outs again to No Motion and the Nye. We are international. We are international here.
Global, baby.
We're global with No Neutral. And that's what I love to see because that's what Street Fighter is all about. It's about connecting us all over the world. And speaking about connecting, our show, as great as it is, it has connected us to some trolls. So we have the troll of the week here. And, after our last show, I may have had some choice words to say about those complaining about Cammy. And maybe those results, maybe I shouldn't have spoke up. We'll say that. But, I said what I said. And I logged into Twitter. And I had one interesting notification. And that notification was none other than Dalsum Extraordinaire Broski adding me to a list. And that list is the list of Cammy down players.
Cammy down players.
I'm on the
list.
How
you feel about that, Brian?
I made the list. I just said, hey, if you're going to complain, at least back it up with facts. And I made the list. Apparently, I'm a Cammy down player now. And then immediately after, what did we have? We had Gama winning Central America West with none other than Cammy. So, you know what? Maybe I spoke too soon.
It was disgusting, Brian. Shout out to Broski. Next time I see you, I guarantee you, no BS, dinner and drinks on me.
Well, listen, I can't, I might be downplaying again, but I do want to say congrats to Gama. Gama played amazing this weekend at Central America West, and he closed out first place, had a fantastic run with his Cammy, and this guy, once again, we talked about all those people in Central America who were your favorite player's favorite player. This is one of those dudes who's been on the grind, on the down low for quite some time. I mentioned he had some big wins over, you ever heard of Tokido before? Taking out Tokido at SCR back in the day, maybe in, I believe, 2018.
I remember that, bro. I remember that.
Yeah, that tournament was wild. I mean, some crazy stuff was going down that tournament, and he was one of those big upsets that came out of that weekend. And this weekend, he proved that he has what it takes to close it out. And it's not just Cammy. This guy got the skills. He has the skills. But one of the biggest storylines going into that is who was he playing in that grand finals? My man Kusanagi got
my goodness, bro.
Again. Every online CPT qualifier that has existed since 2020 has had Kusanagi in that second place position. Every time.
Bro, I couldn't even imagine, bro. You know how you kind of would rather lose in like 17th place than 9th place or then 2nd place? Like, the closer you get and then lose, the worse it feels. So I could not imagine losing in that same spot 3 separate times. And we're not talking about 3 second place NLBCs in a row where it's week after week after week and you get to try again. This is over the course of, as Brian aptly put, a year and a half. I definitely feel for Kusanagi, but at the same time, I'm very impressed that he can play so high so consistently. That is godlike.
Watching that tournament, I feel nothing but fear. The play styles that are represented were just that pure sense of offensive pressure, offensive mix, constantly differing the options you choose to approach. Is it going to be the dash? Is it the jump? Is it the surprise wake up low forward? Is it the full screen run EX parry on your super? I mean, it was just some of the most high octane Street Fighter, and Kusanagi specifically really represents that well, and you can see why that carried him to the grand finals. I mean, he got into the top 8 at loser side, brought it all the way back to grand finals, but Gama was just so ready for it. The matches against Kusanagi were just such an example of being prepared for the option the opponent presents, because he was just like cool, calm, and collected. And in the face of Kusanagi, that's no easy task. Like I said, I'm terrified. I don't know how you feel. I'm terrified when I watch Kusanagi play.
Well, of course, my agent says it wouldn't be good for my image to admit that I would be terrified of any player when I'm on camera, but I might be just a little bit scared, just a little bit, but not too serious, but just a little bit, but maybe on Sunday. But anyway, with that being the case, Gama did amazing. That's one person that clearly was not fearful whatsoever, came out there, played his game. And even outside of that Kusanagi match, his entire journey was interesting to me. Like, every time you win a tournament, every time you win an event, it's not always a straight blowout, but it's a matter of having that mental stability, that clarity, knowing what your strategy is, keeping your confidence up, and he ended up winning a whole tournament through winner's side. Gamma did an amazing job and earned that victory.
I wanted to just shout out some of the other players we saw in top 8. Chanteca's, I'm a big fan of Chanteca's. He had one of the most hyped matches to qualify for top 8, doing that EX Abigail run through the super with the parry. And that was against Hector with a fantastic gill. I think maybe he'll hit the lab and just try to remember the heat of the moment that Abigail EX run will parry supers. That
you know how salty he was, bro? He had to be. Do you know how salty he had to be for that, bro?
I bet you that's one of those things where he probably knew and his hands just did it. But if you didn't know, you showed up to the pop quiz and you didn't know the answer. That's how it is sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes it's just a knowledge.
It seems like it's the right thing to do in the heat of the moment.
Right,
Armor,
right.
I'm gonna super it.
Exactly. I mean, that's the traditional logic, but Abigail, as we know, breaks all traditional logic, and that's why I love watching the character. What can I say? So Chanteca's had a fantastic run. El Tigre, my man, was also in there in top 8. Uriel Velorio doing work with his Cody as well. So, and, you know, it was just a fantastic top 8 all around. So I just wanted to give shout outs to all those players for representing. I know we're going to see them in the next Central America West doing work. And we'll see. I don't know. It's Kusanagi. You got to take that one. He's going to get second. Is someone else going to step up? I'm excited to see what happens there.
Definitely much love to all of those players. They did their thing. Chanteca's, man, he might be my favorite Abigail outside of Season 3 Cool Kid. Of course, my Midwest bias, my Midwest heart has to have Cool Kid number 1. But god dang it, Chanteca's is right there. Amazing Abigail. I hope to play against you someday. And you know, Brown, one thing that I have to bring up, just thinking about him taking a road less traveled and things of that nature, Garmin is somebody who's definitely used to doing things like that, because even offline, my man was driving 2 to 3 hours from Tijuana, Mexico, all the way up to Santa Ana to playing Wednesday night fights just to get all of that work in. Man, that goes to show, like, just the level of dedication, the level of grind that he has to get to this point. And it has to be a beautiful thing to see it pay off like that.
Of course. And, you know, it's always the tip of the iceberg that people see. People only see the success. Mm-hmm. They see this guy come out of nowhere, right? That's the one thing that always gets me. The guy who comes out of nowhere to get the victory. And I hate that been there. I've been there. You know, you get your first notable win. You've been grinding on the down low for years to get there. And only the people in the know really know. And that's why the people in the know, they give their props, give their respect. So I want to see nothing but respect for this man. He has been putting in that work. And if you think you're salty signing up for NLBC or WNF every week, signing in online and playing those matches just to go 0-2, imagine going cross country, crossing international borders every week in order
putting
to
miles on the car. Right. You gotta change that oil soon.
That's some real money. That's some, you know, putting your money where your mouth is to get that training in just to see it pay off in the end. I mean, it's a beautiful thing, and you got to respect the grind. You got to respect the dedication. So I'm so happy for Gama for taking it. So Rob, you know we had to talk about it. Cammy has won 2 CPT events in a row, and you know what people are saying. They're saying it's almost a dirty word in the FGC. In all of gaming, they're saying...
Are you talking about the C word? I know you're not going to say it. I know you're not going to say the C word.
Are characters carrying these players to their victories? That's what we got to talk about. We got to talk about.
Okay, outside of just these players in general, so I want to make sure the topic is clear. Are you comfortable talking about just do characters carry players in general, including these CPT results?
Right. I mean, they already know. We've already been praising those players. No disrespect to those, but in general, can a character carry you?
I'm gonna have to keep it a buck with you right now. A character cannot carry a player, at least dependent on the context. And I know this is no neutral, so do not get me twisted. I would never give you guys a middle of the road, you know what I mean, neutral take. We aren't here for any of that. But let me keep it a buck, man. A lot of y'all are just being scrubby and crying and complaining. And I'm gonna keep it honest with you. I'm tired of it. Big Hollywood is just about done with all of that. And I'm gonna explain why. First and foremost, we've been hearing this since we were born onto this earth. Skills pay the bills. And in this context, oh my goodness, that couldn't be more right. In the end of the day, you gotta read and react. You gotta see the player tendencies. If somebody's gonna dash at me and I'm using Guile versus using Karen versus using what, all that changes there as far as my dash check is it a 3-frame or a 4-frame? But generally speaking, I should be able to react to the dash just the same. And it changes how much damage I get. That's not getting carried. If I know my opponent is gonna jump, if I know my opponent is gonna tech on defense, things of that nature. So in the end of the day, a character is not going to affect match results unless players are on a similar skill level. And a lot of you guys don't want to hear that. A lot of you guys are pulling up to the Big Hollywood chat at Raw TV Live on Twitch. A lot of you guys are pulling up to Brian_F on Twitch, and you are talking about how, man, I'm tired of these Seth players, man. I'm tired of these Cammy players, man. They don't really deserve to get the victory against me. Shut up, you suck, you're bad, you're garbage, and that's why you're salty in the end of the day. Look, the player is either around your skill level, or you don't know the matchup. But at that point, is that player being carried, or are you taking an anchor that's filled with metal and salt and throwing it into the water and bring yourself down? They're not being carried, they're staying afloat, and you're anchoring yourself to being garbage.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the matchup thing, because I got a slightly different way of phrasing it. Because you know what, Rob? I think characters do carry. I think they do. I think they do. But you know what? I think we all play our own characters. We're all carried. All of our characters are good at something. They specialize in something. You play Balrog, you're carried by those -4 dash punches. And you play Karen, and you're carried by the most broken neutral in the game. Talking about I'm outplaying you with footsies. Talking about my whiff punishes. The character is built to do that. You're carried by that. It's built into the character, right? So every character has things they specialize in. You are not immune from the strengths of your characters, like you're not immune from the strengths of other people's characters. But I'm so glad you brought up the matchup point, because I think this is where you can really see this carried mentality. And I think we got to divvy it up between two different spheres, two different schools of thoughts, right? The average, the beginner intermediate mindset, and then the high level mindset. In the beginner intermediate level mindset, you're carried by that gimmicky character with really strong offense. That Abigail, you can't anti-air him because his jump heavy kick hits you from the ground the moment he leaves the air, right? That Blanca V-trigger too, because you have zero idea what's going on when he does EX Rainbow Ball, then flies across the screen, then does random EX upper, and somehow it's safe, even though it's not. What's going on is that there are certain characters that have strong gimmicks. And you say, if you are a stronger player, you should still win. Skill is not a linear concept. It's not you go from level 1 to 100. There's many different areas you can improve in as a player. If you have an extremely strong foundation in Street Fighter, which is generally like your whiff punishing, your concept of spacing, your anti-airs, if you're building that up, good on you. You're building a strong foundation for the future to be able to play any character, to be able to play any style, right? Okay, so you're doing this hard work, you're building a strong foundation, and then you lose to someone just doing flips with Abigail, who clearly only knows two moves. They know run punch, and they know Abigail flip, and you lose. And you go, wait a minute, I know X, Y, and Z, and this guy is on A and B, and he bodied me. He is carried. Well, maybe, but who cares? The finish line, you guys are here at the beginning of the race. You're a little bit ahead of him, and he beats you. Whatever, who cares? The finish line is in the next country. It's in the next planet. You have so much more to learn for it to even matter. So who cares if he carried you? Who cares if Abigail carried that person over you? Who cares if Balrog carried that other player over you? You have so much more to learn. It's okay. Sometimes you lose to players who are weaker than you because they specialize in something that you just haven't figured out yet. You need to carry yourself to the lab and figure out how to stop them. And then, surprise. They're not.
At the end of the day, they're being salty about you being salty about getting somebody else getting 128th place over you. You know what I mean? Like right. It's not like you're getting top 8 CPT events anyway. Oh, you got carried to 128th place. Oh, screw you! Like, come on, bro. That makes no sense.
Right. But you know, that said, that's kind of like on the beginner level, the intermediate level mindset. But at the high level, that 1% difference in character strength can make the difference, because 1% difference in results could be the difference between second and first. So I think there's a little bit more nuance once you shift gears, right? At the highest level, people are approaching that human limit. They're really pushing the boundaries as far as you can go with skill. So having that little bit percentage of an advantage, because fighting games are going to inherently be imbalanced forever. I don't care how much you guys complain on Twitter, they're just going to be cycling through top tiers, because unless we're all playing Ryu Mira matches till the end of time, there's going to be balance issues, because there's going to be characters that are different, and this is how it is. And in fact, you want
not,
that.
and
you
not even balance issues, but just balance. It's not an issue,
right?
But it's going to be balance.
I mean, it's just a fact of life, right?
Yeah.
So that 1% can matter. I mean, we might be seeing that with Cammy right now, but it's not like these players are carried there. It's they have the skills. They're close in range with the skill level. Maybe they're getting a push right now with their character being a little bit more stronger than the others, and this does affect things. But what we see time and time again is players who transcend that, right? Like, who are the players you look up to? Who are the players who are consistently winning at the highest levels? They're not carried. They might switch to a character that has that 1% more advantage, or they might sometimes lose a bad matchup here and there, but those dudes are consistent for a reason. So balance patches can make or break a career if you're not at that level. That can happen. We've seen it happen. We might have even been a part of it for a season, maybe back in season 2, right? It happens. But at the end of the day, just get better.
Brian, you put it beautifully. Carry yourself to the lab. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian F., I think we all know what time it is. It's about that time for the salt to flow. Oh my goodness, I spilled some. It's about that time for the scrubs to go, because it's time for top 16 of North America West, and I'm fired up right now. It's going to be a crazy one.
I am super excited for this one, because I got to be honest, this was probably my favorite region to watch last year, most likely, and that season finals last year between Nephew and Samurai. Oh my goodness. So I just want to quickly recap what went down last season in 2020. The first America West event, we had none other than Samurai Nephew in those grand finals, and that was some of the most intense Street Fighter I've ever seen.
I shed a tear, bro.
I mean,
Brian,
it was beautiful.
I swear, I shed a tear in that match, dead serious, on stream.
And then the next grand finals, we had Myers versus Samurai. Samurai back in the hot seat for grand finals, and he closed that one out against Myers. And it was just so much emotion in both of those finals, because you know how much it means to all those players involved. You know, Myers, he was heartbroken with that loss, but I'm so proud of him for getting there.
Did Myers reset the bracket?
I believe he did.
I want to say he was on losers and reset. One of them reset. It went down to the end, though.
Both of those grand finals are incredibly close, and you can see how the talent on the West Coast is just like, these players are neck and neck for best in the country, possibly. I mean, we got some contenders in the East Coast. I got to say, we got some big boys now on the East Coast these days. But West Coast, I love how many like high level players are around the similar level, constantly pushing each other's. And with that said, Nephew and Samurai, they went to the season finals, and that was, as you would say, that was Dark Neff.
And that season final was actually amazing. And I think that Samurai, he might have pulled up, Brian. He might have pulled up expecting regular Nephew. But those two guys are not the only ones in this all-star cast. Of course, we have UYU's brand new signing, Chris CCH. I mean, is that guy even past the age of 12 years old? Is it even legal for him to have more than one box of crayons at one time? I don't know. But clearly he confirms he has the rush now, and he has a brand new sponsor. And oh, trust and believe, that's not all. Two players that I want to make sure you guys are looking out for is none other than one of the Midwest finest. And I know we're talking about West Coast here because my homie moved over there, but shout out to my sis Mira. Her Laura and her cast of characters in general definitely going to be putting in work, and nothing about that play is going to be lame. But one player has entered this tournament, the lamest of them all. If I said the word one more time, he might actually just pop up behind me. That's the Lord, Justin Wong. One of the all-time greats has entered this tournament. This cast of players is amazing, Brian. It's looking ridiculous.
I love the variety that West Coast offers in terms of their high-level players. They play so many different characters. I mean, for some reason, they have like tons of Lauras and the craziest Rashids. I mean, you also have JB in that mix. Alex Myers is going to be returning as well. But what I really want to talk about is some of the dark horses, the people who are going to do some work. You know, those players that maybe you at home haven't heard of, but you should have. And I got to highlight my guy, Blar Lad. This guy has been grinding every single tournament that the West Coast has to offer. So before COVID, I'd be scrolling through the Twitch section for Street Fighter V, like, oh, random weekly on a Monday, there's Blar Lad. Random weekly on a Tuesday, there's Blar Lad. WNF, there's Blar Lad. Every single day of the week, he was at a different tournament. But I got to highlight one other player, or maybe two, the Mario Bros. Those are another pair of West Coast regulars. They are in WNF every single top 8. Mario, he's rocking some of the cleanest Karen play around. And Luigi playing Guile and G. I love the way these guys approach the game. They, we talked about West Coast being pretty offense heavy. I feel like these two really represent that old school patient style. So patient, picking their spots. They have a similar style with different approaches with their characters. They're real and they're here to do work. So I'm definitely looking for either of them to make top 8. We'll see how it goes. They're my dark horse picks.
You know something interesting with Mario's style? He's extremely analytical. When he pops into your Twitch chat, he's never going to just send you one sentence. It's a complete book every time with some big, deep concept, and he wants your input on it. Extremely analytical player, but one thing that we have to know is that there's more than one type of player. And my dark horse isn't a scientific player as much as a heart player, and that's none other than the Midwest very own, I already brought her up, Mira. When things go well for her, things just tend to snowball. It reminds me a bit of players like Mena RD, for example. Clearly, that doesn't mean that these players don't have tech, that they don't lab, but they're emotional. When things go well off the rails, then it's probably over with. But when it's going good, it's a snowball, a raging bull that's going to be tough to stop. And speaking of raging Bulls, Chicago Bulls, my second sleeper pick is none other than Clegg Madness. If you don't know about him, just Google him, just look him up on Twitter, and you'll see a picture, and you'll see that he is dark-skinned and bald, just like Michael Jordan. And if that's the case, he must have the potential in him to be the GOAT. And if his appearance isn't enough to convince you, then how about looking at the results, ladies and gentlemen? CPT America West last year, America West 2, my man makes top 8. In some matches, he's even using Jury's V-Trigger 2. So if he's using Jury's V-Trigger 2 and able to make top 8, then imagine what he could do if he picks V-Trigger 1. Bruh, I'm excited to see it. My man has all the potential in the world.
Well said, Rob. Excellent dark horse picks. I'm so excited to see how all these matches play out because the talent pool in the NA West runs deep. Some of the best character specialists, some of the most offensive and defensive players that Street Fighter V has to offer. But we had over 173 players in that bracket. Only 16 remain. Only 16 remain tonight, and they are going to be duking it out to earn that spot in Sunday amongst the top 8 competitors. So please stick around for those matches coming up right after this break.
You shouldn't only admire my words, but also concentrate a little more on your lessons, Mira. For you. You must be careful. Nephew. Soul satellite. What's the meaning of fate? You shall know. You should try to learn to use your power a little better.
Back after the ultimate improvement. Father! Psycho! What's up? What's up? See ya. Psycho! The legend has now begun. Burn this in your memory! I've got no choice! I've got no choice! Knock you Psycho! Whoosha! To honor Father, Big Bro will do his best.
Too late to run off to Mom now.
These matches are going to be even more ridiculous.
If you know anything about Street Fighter, you do not doubt the GOAT.
My man is always hitting go. You thought I was playing? Oh, you're hella dead.
The main event!
Help me out, Nadeshko.
Look how much it means to him! Wow!
Not over! It's not over! Are you serious? My man is reading right now! My man is reading!
Ladies and gentlemen, Street Fighter fans all over the world, it is time for the Capcom Pro Tour 2021. My name is Vicious, here with Ultra David to see who will come out as the best in the West as we cover the North American West qualifier number 1. And we are absolutely ecstatic. We were looking throughout the top 16, even further throughout the bracket to see who has eliminated who to get to this stage.
It's my favorite region in the world. I don't think that's a big surprise. This is the region that we're both from, so I'm going to have a blast calling it. Super fun to be here for it. It was cool to listen to Brian and Rob talk about their thoughts on the region as well. You know, I was interested and maybe pleasantly surprised to hear that they had as much positivity to say about the region as they did. I certainly believe a lot in these players here, and we have the top 16 who have made it this far so far.
Yeah, and again, we've grown up in Southern California for a majority of our lives playing Street Fighter in general, right? So seeing some of these players come up to where they're at right now has been probably the biggest payoff, honestly. I mean, getting to see the top 16 names, again, if you guys have been following along Smash.gg, even some of the other local scenes, you guys see some of these players playing multiple tournaments throughout the week, and we get to see the fruit of their labor come out today for the Capcom Pro Tour, where it all matters, right? To see who will come out for the North American West into Capcom Cup. With that all said, again, we have quite the top 16 for everybody. I know the main focus has been Cammy for a good amount of it.
Yeah.
You know, 2 of them have won so far.
Pretty good.
It's pretty diverse here. A lot of these matchups we're excited to see, like Nephew versus Rambro, top of show. Then Mortzy going up against Chris CCH. Samurai versus Dankadillas. And of course, to round it all off in the winner's side, Mataoha versus Mira.
And then you check out the loser's side and another set of barn burners. We got Filipino Man. We got Luigi from California as well. We got a couple Californians in there. JB has been Californian for long enough that he's from here.
We call that.
We absolutely got him. Corey Bell as well. Akita from Arizona, I should say, and Stupendous in California as well. And then my heart wants to say that this is going to be a battle of the valley. Alex Myers versus Commander Jesse. Of course, Jesse still does live in Southern California, but Alex Myers moved up to San Francisco last year. So he's up there. Mm-hmm. It's okay. That's all right. I lived in NorCal myself for a while. It's a nice region. I don't have too much bad to say about it, but there's a lot of fun matchups in there. There are matchups between people who have been playing together forever. For example, the last one that I mentioned, those players have been playing with each other for 12 years or something, right? A long, long time. Others are a little bit more recent, but there's a lot of history in many of these. And for the characters, yeah, there's a Cammy in there, but there's also a ton of other diversity, including characters that 100%. We rarely see. Probably Falk, for example. Fang. Interesting characters that we're going to get to watch.
Yeah, and one of those cats, again, we're going to see right at the top of the show with our first matchup between Nephew and Rambro. Nephew, we've heard of a lot throughout the entirety of Street Fighter League, even in the Capcom Pro Tour, and a bunch of other online locals, right? Being roommates with Punk as well on the same team, and just overall being a very, very smart calling player, one of the best to play that character, in my honest opinion. And going up against Rambro, who's been making his way up there, right? We were just talking about this off stream, where Rambro was one of those cats that was totally fine with just hanging out with the group, right? He would go to the locals in person and just be like, playing it out, grinding out some games. Eventually made his way up to Street Fighter League for like the amateur series and started to make his waves with Falk, and even got the attention of someone like Punk saying, I told you, Rambro is serious business. I've been telling you about him. He just tweeted that out not too long ago, I believe.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about I maybe have been talking a lot about the Californians. That's where my heart lies here. But there's a lot of other strength up in the Pacific Northwest, for example. In Arizona, there's strength. And don't think of California as being a contiguous scene. It's not that easy for me to go up and train with players in Northern California. Let me tell you, that's a good 6-7 hours away. So it's really all spread out, and all around this side of the U.S. we have a lot of strength, including up in Vancouver as well. Mortzy's up in Vancouver too. So it's the whole West Coast that's really well represented here.
Mm-hmm. And so we are talking about the players for the most part, but we're also very excited to see kind of the character matchups that are to be had in this top 16, right? Right off the bat, we have Colleen versus Falk, a match we rarely get to see. Personally, I rarely get to see these two go at it, but as individuals, I've studied a lot of both, right?
Sure.
After that, it's Fong versus Sakura. Fongs are pretty much non-existent, unfortunately, but he's pretty good now. I mean, he's decent. He's pretty decent now. Yeah. Akuma versus Dalsum, pretty much a test of time. Balrog versus Laura. also in the top 16. But going through it, we actually have one Rose player through the hands of Filipino Man. I'm glad that he's found his main again and is having a great time with him. I know I was in a Discord watching him train with this character, and he's just so happy to even have this character back. And then, of course, Luigi rocking that guile, using that EX flash kick as many times as he possibly could, which is great. It's got him this far, right? JB claiming him as West Coast now, still sticking it out with Rashid. Corey Bell making that transition, that slow but steady one between Zangief into Ed. Seeing the fruits of his labor now. Akita with Dalsim, Stupendous sticking it out with Zangief, but who's also been dabbling with a ton of other characters. So we'll see how that matchup goes.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Alex Myers sticking it out with Cammy this time. Does have the Chun on the back burner just in case, going up against Commander Jesse, who has been playing with a ton of other characters, but has decided to stick it out with Dalsim for this top 16.
So we have a lot of character variety, like you just mentioned. Interestingly, the character that shows up the most is Dalsim. There are three Dalsims.
How do you
in here.
feel about that, David?
Well, look, I mean, I played Dalsim. He's a good character. At the beginning of the season, there was a little bit of trepidation. He got nerfed in a few different ways. But,
Mostly.
Right, the anti-air is a little bit worse, float's a little bit worse. That said, V-Shift really helps him out. It's really a helpful tool. He gets away just much more consistently. He gets, I mean, there are some things in the game that you can react to with V-Shift and punish. Dalsim makes good utility of that. And his triggers are useful. V-Trigger 2 is really fun. But if you're spending your V-meter on V-Reversal or on V-Shift to get away more consistently, then you're more consistently at that spot where Dalsim is good. And that's what he's been able to do, I feel, in this season. So I do think that he's still quite strong.
And then you have characters like Ed and Falk for the most part. Ed, they've made him a little bit more, they've given him a little bit more off of like V-Trigger and some of his normals too, to kind of convert a little easier, right? He's supposed to be kind of like this offensive kind of character, but it was a little difficult to get that damage consistently, right? They've kind of cleared all those issues up for the most part. They did a great job really revamping Ed this time around, and they made him into an offensive monster, I feel like. There are a couple of things I've seen with V-Trigger that have been circulating in social media that are pretty cool and does a decent amount of damage, but for the most part, it's going to be pretty tricky to kind of navigate the matchup versus Ed. But Falk, there's what can actually be said about Falk, right? There's been so many significant changes, especially with even like V-Skill 2 and V-Trigger 2 as well. So I'm curious to see how that's going to be navigated through the likes of Rambro.
Yeah, that character the last 2 seasons has been buffed pretty substantially. And I remember last season, many of us thought that like maybe now's the time of Falk, and it just didn't really happen that much. But in this season, yeah, she got, again, some buffs, and I certainly think that she's one of those credible, obviously viable characters to make it into top 16.
So we have it, Nephew versus Rambro to kick off things here in the North American West qualifier. Let's see what both players have to say as they got ready for their top 16. Rambro says, Nephew is ridiculous. I'm going to do my best to beat him. Then me, him, and Punk are going mini golfing.
What? That's pretty sweet. By the way,
that.
shout outs to the West Coast and calling it mini golfing. Everybody on the East Coast, that's a little game that you like to call putt-putt. But out here, we call it mini golfing, and I believe that's the proper term for it. Rambro also had a quote that he supplied about his life. It's basically a Rufus Street Fighter 4 win quote. I've been grinding Monster Hunter Rise for the past month and a half, but I love fighting games more than anything. I'm doing my best to improve myself as much as possible. I read Daigo's book, and my brain doubled in size. That's how good the knowledge is. I love reading methods on improving your mental outlook and fortitude on things. Cien always posts some really good stuff on Twitter regarding this. Thanks. It's a good... Appreciate it from Rambo.
Let's see what Nephew had to say for his top 16. Rambro uses the ugliest Falk costume in the game. I'll try and beat him as fast as possible so you guys don't have to look at it for too long.
He also wanted to say that 69% of people that watch his YouTube channel are not subscribed, even though it is easy to just hit that button, so maybe consider it. It is easy. It's fact. Easy. Yeah, I mean, the Falk, in terms of looks, her model looks cool. I would say her model looks cool.
Do you want me to rebuttal, or do you want me to add on to it?
I just think we can probably end the sentence there. You guys know where I'm going.
I mean, like, she's got cool outfits.
She does have cool outfits. I agree with you on that front. Yeah, but as far as the matchup goes, Nephew versus Rambro, Nephew, I think, comes into this as one of the favorites of the tournament. You know, it's certainly one of the reasons that Brian and Rob talked about Nephew. Extremely strong. We all know that. So I think that he's kind of joking there about trying to beat Rambro quickly, but I do think this is going to be an uphill battle, certainly for Rambro.
Yeah, so we're going to see how it plays out. Nephew versus Rambro again. I haven't seen this interaction too many times. Absolutely ecstatic to see it again. Falk versus Colleen. It's going to be a matchup for sure, and it's a great way to start things off. As you all know, top 16, always 2 out of 3. This is the winner side, and this is the first match for the West. Here we go.
I didn't see the outfit. What was it? Okay.
Yeah, I like that. The Breath of Fire costume. That's what I'm talking about.
Fantastic. This is the best.
This is actually the best costume.
This is actually the best. As a Kappa Honda player, I'm way into it. So she's going to want to maintain this range as much as possible outside of that fierce range. Oh, God, I guess she was not. But it's going to be a struggle, right? Keeping outside of that spot with Colleen's movement speed. Already got in the corner.
And Rambro's totally fine with playing this out, right? He's going to be doing cycle shots over and over and over again until he finds an opening. But what are you going to do about Nephew once he starts pressing you down with these throws?
It's just a matter of guessing correctly here. Or pushing the opponent out, which is great as well. We got V-Trigger 2 on deck, I just noticed, for Rambro. Looking for a safe activation.
Oh, that's exactly it. Off of a stray hit, from what it seems. Throw, pushing him back towards mid-screen. Nephew, yep. Trigger 2 activation.
Becomes real risky to throw out shots. Oh, did throw out shots. There it is, though. Nephew with the reactions is in there.
And still goes with the uppercut. I like that from Rambro. No fear. Nephew was not, I don't know, he might have committed to something else. I couldn't tell at that split second, but Rambro gets away with it with that V-Trigger 2.
Yeah, that overhead. Trying to challenge, maybe too close. So we've seen very easy. Yeah, happy to do that a couple times so far.
Very solid whiff punish coming from that light kick. Here comes Nephew. Let it hail real quick. Tried to throw the V reversal just a little bit too early. Air grab instead. Why risk the anti-air timing?
And now patience from Rambro, who's been very movement heavy. Jumped up into the corner a bunch.
And I like that, slowly picking apart the timing, and Nephew picking the right buttons as well. Rambro finds his way out of the corner. Yeah, dive kicks to safety, but for how long? That fierce, very active, very far.
Fantastic expectation right there by Nephew, who's now pressuring. Oh! Puts up the cage again.
Oh!
Okay! The reversals have come out, and they have been 3 for 3 so far for Rambro.
Decent chunk of damage. El Kabong.
And now back to the zoning game, and he can definitely do enough chip to make this credible.
Yeah, fully charging the cycle shot as well. Just right outside that fear, which is kind of scary. Oh no, right underneath. That's all Nephew needed to get some extra meter as well with that back throw. Good anticipation there against Rambro.
In and out of that range right there, that fierce range for Rambro's Falk. That's where Nephew's dancing in and out of.
He's kind of missing those opportunities to kind of whiff punish because that stays out there for a decent bit. And they made it a little easier to whiff punish.
Patience now. Again, Rambro was pretty buttonsy earlier. Okay, now he begins moving.
And I like it. Really throwing off the timing of Nephew, because Nephew is one to kind of really dissect a player's momentum or like movement to see what the next move is. But Rambro has been keeping his options very ambiguous.
Nice Nephew with the capitalization on it. He's got the corner for himself.
Another!
4 for 4. Just consistently right. Is this a whiff punish in time? It's not quite, but that's fine for Nephew. He's got the corner.
Oh, just outside of range after that V skill, whiff punishing. Here comes Nephew after that air grab.
And now Rambro tries to hold on versus that V-trigger to Colleen. It is going down.
Trying to bait that fierce again, that forward fierce, the lunge. Just outside of that range, waiting for an opportunity. Instead, dashes in with the remaining V-trigger that he had.
And I think that maybe Rambro thought that he had taught Nephew to back off after 4 for 4 incorrect reversals.
Right.
But Nephew did not. He went in there. It was a brave choice. Now, I mean, if he had been hit, it wasn't the end of the round, right?
Exactly.
It's not like he was betting too much on it. But nevertheless, a right and correct and brave choice from Nephew to seal the deal.
Yeah, excellent choice in the wheel of options that he had. Again, not really fearing the reversals throughout the entirety of that match. He wasn't going to fear it again, especially with that life lead. He's going to take a chunk of damage. No big deal. Has to reset back to neutral. But Nephew again on the board with the first game. Great adaptation made. But here comes Rambro now. Checking the dash, but no, nothing to convert off of that. Just got the straight medium kick.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I hope that's not a sign that he's a little bit out of it in terms of looking for...
And I like that. I like that a lot. Charging up the shot, changing between a grounded shot and an airborne one. Checking Nephew just in case he tries to dash after him as soon as he jumps backwards was huge.
Oh, the range that Nephew's at is so strong. He can get in there so quickly with that movement that she has, or still at range for that extended fierce.
It was the ice. The ice touched the legs. Oh, and speaking of EX Parabellum, sweep ender into ice hands, Parabellum again.
And just not worried about it.
And it hit the tail end of it.
Oh, boy. Rambro still with the life lead.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Just moving back, V-shift, excellent choice. Really suppressing that momentum from Nephew.
Nephew did try the whiff punish. Just a little bit too close. We've seen him be at the right spot before. Rambro trying it out still, maybe too patiently. Nephew is scheming, is looking for that approach. Not giving in on the jump.
Oh, no whiff punish on that either, but Rambro does get punished, does commit to the uppercut this time, and Nephew 100,000% ready for it this time around. But that was huge. Rambro had the opportunity to whiff punish that step.
That was the first jump we've seen in a while. Rambro not ready for the anti-air. I really want to see some effective... Okay, he's going to go for the V-skill instead, but Nephew's out.
Ooh. Big reversal punish there from Nephew. Pushing more towards the corner. He's going to make it hail. No, dashes up twice instead to close the gap immediately.
And this is Nephew. We've been in this corner, in this situation, at this range for, I don't know, 50 seconds in this game, in this match. Nephew's ready.
And that was pretty close. You know that he caught Rambro's timing when he wanted to throw a button at what range. Ooh.
Not quite there on the whip punish. It's close.
Look at how many fierces. Firing with a fierce of his own.
See the great life up there? Here we go. Rambro now has access to a couple more options.
Ooh.
And
Look,
he's
just chipping away.
Pressuring with it.
Keeping the stun gauge up as well. You got to expect, oh, he's just going to back off and give it to him for free. Oh! Nephew had the right idea. Nephew absolutely had the right idea. Looking to air parry the V trigger 2, just slightly mistimed it. Oh.
Wow, what patience from Rambro. He didn't do anything. There he is hanging out. His Nephew now gets in.
And that big jump in again. That's like, what was like a micro step forward. Caught Nephew pressing a button. I didn't see a counter hit on there, though. Wonder what the movement choice was.
Again, quite patience, Rambro.
I like it.
It's just so hard to read what he's going to do.
What is that, 5 for 6 now? We're keeping track.
Nephew ready with everything. Trigger, super, he's a very dangerous man.
Oh.
And Rambro slightly moving forward, right? He does not want to get whiff punished. Okay, so just
this is tough
activates.
This is very tough now. Nephew can instantaneously just dash through. Doesn't need to instead. Gets a crush counter off of the infamous Fierce.
One more series if it's the right one. Oh my god, I think it was the right one.
100%
it was the right one from Nephew. And he's going to take it 2-0. So despite the fact that that reversal rate, great success. 5 for 6 is really good. But that really shows you that that's not entirely what this is about. She doesn't get, it's not like she like snowballs so much after that, right? It doesn't do a ton of damage by itself. You need the rest. And the rest of it was so often controlled by Nephew hanging out at a very precise spot, ready for mostly grounded approaches, very occasionally air approach. And when he did, it wasn't anti-air. That spot, obviously with the V-trigger and the ability for her movement, he can wait at that spot for a lot of the time. Just, you know, I said earlier that Nephew I felt like was one of the favorites in this, and I think that him making top 8 is not a big surprise, but congrats to him. And nevertheless, a lot of really good work by Rambro, who
100%
was great in terms of the reversal, like we talked about, but also had phases of being really patient, just really hard to make reads on him a lot of the time.
Yeah, a lot of the things I wanted to talk about was actually Rambro's defense, right? The only time he really got in trouble was when he tried to commit to some sort of offense, whereas he tried to get closer. Nephew kind of saw the green light. He's like, all right, I know the button timing that Rambro chooses. I know he's going to go for something like a medium kick. I'm going to throw out my Fierce because this is just going to stomp it out every single time with the priority system, right? Timed it very well. Caught Rambro pressing a button majority of the times. But his defense, outside of that, the movement, the spacing, everything that he's been accounting for has been, it's been remarkable, to say the least.
Looking pretty good out there.
His offense, a little bit of a touch-up, maybe, but again, it's Nephew, right? Nephew has been breaking it down to a science since his inception into Street Fighter V. But for the most part, I think Rambro's downfall wasn't like the defense. It was more so just like mistiming the offense because Nephew was just 2 steps ahead.
There you go. So Nephew qualifying for top 8. Nice work. We'll see that he's in there tomorrow. He's going to play the winner of one of these two folks. Coming up next.
Yes.
Mortzy or UYU Chris CCH.
That's right. Mortzy from Vancouver, Canada, rocking that Fong. UYU's own Chris CCH from Washington, messing around with Sakura, also with Guile. But for the most part, I think we're going to be seeing Sakura, as that has been his character of choice lately. I do believe we have the quotes from the players themselves going into this top 16. Let's see what they had to say, starting with Mortzy. Chris and I have played many times in the past. More often than not, he's gotten the best of me. Hoping I can make the upset here and move on to top 8 winners.
Okay, yeah, I mean, they are from a similar region, right? Vancouver and Washington are next door to each other, British Columbia, I should say, and Washington. So they, I'm sure, have played a lot. But look, he's a very strong player. He makes a lot of very interesting decisions with Fang. Maybe it is an upset if he wins. You know, he might not be wrong about this. But I don't know that it's going to be... he may be phrasing it as harder than I think it might be.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what Chris CCH had to say about Mortzy going into their matchup. I'm really happy that Mortzy and I have made it this far, showing how strong the PNW is at the Pacific Northwest. But only one of us can make it to top 8 winners, and I'm going to make sure it's me.
Woo! Okay, all right. Well, Chris, feeling pretty confident, says I represent UYU and the 11 boys. Mortzy wants you to think I dropped Rashid in Season 3 for Fang.
What was the actual decision there? I mean, like...
Okay, nice work.
I wish we had those facts. I thought those factoids were going to be up there, but apparently not. Either way, it's going to be Fong versus Soccer. How are you feeling about this matchup, David?
I don't know. What do you want me to say, Jeremy?
I'm curious to see how fast Chris is going to try to mow down the line of defense that Fong presents, right? We're talking about, off the bat, right? Fong does have decent normals in terms of range. Not the greatest, but they can poke and they can be annoying, but it's all about the poison, right? The V skill, you do have the traps laid down, the 2 up air poisons as well. Everything that he possesses can really deter offensive movement.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is probably more about him trying to get his own game going. Fang is like nominally a zoner in some matchups, but I think is better played more often as like a kind of setup character. So when I've seen Mortzy do well and other Fangs do well, it is to a degree, certainly, about those normals and a little bit of setting things up behind the mine and stuff like that. But sure. I really want to see those mix-ups. I want to see him get up close and party. But they're not going to catch him off guard. You know, many times when we see Fang, it's people getting caught off guard is not uncommon. Mm-hmm. Because some of those tricks that he has are just, well, they're hard to know if you haven't seen them before. But Chris is definitely going to know the tricks. Mm-hmm. There we go. Chris CCH and Mortzy already in.
And Mortzy tried to set up the poison a little bit after that forward throw, after dashing forward. But yeah, the Rio Benda, but it's Chris CCH, especially with V-Skill 2, it's going to cover a lot of ground at the press of a button. Or 2, I should say. Depending on how he maps it out, you know.
It could be again. Oh, my God. Woo! Well, this is a pretty great start here for Chris. He got into the corner almost immediately. There's 74 seconds left on the clock. That was a very, very strong performance.
A little bit of an introduction there from Mortzy as well. Did get the offensive start against Chris CCH.
Yeah, trying to move forward. Again, the idea makes sense to me. That's so important for Fang.
Ooh. And I like
there
that
we go, plus frames.
And I like that exchange. Yeah, what a great choice to knock down, going for the sweep.
At least the poison's out. Maybe the beginning of something here. At least it can take up to 50 life.
And I haven't seen a lot so far from Mortzy just yet. Again, playing this long-range game, Chris CCH has had the better half so far.
Oh, she just phased through down medium kick. And now she has super. She's very dangerous. Mortzy's got V-Trigger 1.
What's the setup? He still comes out. V-Trigger on the side of Chris
Did move
CCH.
Forward. I can't believe Chris did not anti-air. Here's Mortzy pressuring with plus frames again.
Checking him afterwards. What side? How did you block that? But then afterwards, the low medium kick, the delayed low medium kick from Mortzy. That was an impressive start for his round. Great momentum going towards Mortzy. But Chris CCH, how did he block that setup?
He's seen it before. They've played a bunch. But yeah, if you're not familiar, that stuff's going to definitely catch you off guard. So here's Mortzy now with a little bit of space control. Can she dash in? Okay, V-Skill's in.
And
coast to coast.
Look how much ground she just covered. Just dashing all the way through. Yeah, I like that. Juggle point on the jump medium punch. Keeping him locked down with some plus frames of his own whilst in V-Trigger. The shimmy to close out game number 1 with all the bar to back it up. Chris CCH is looking real familiar against Mortzy. You can tell, again, they've said it all the time, or this entire time. They've been playing a lot against each other. Pacific Northwest boys, they are pretty close to each other. Yeah. This is just looking like a real familiar game, a real familiar match for Chris CCH so far.
Yeah, and not just with the character, not just with Fang, but I'm getting the sense that he has a really good understanding of the player's proclivities. Like, what does Mortzy want to do as a human? Because the way that last round ended was really Chris just getting the read over and over again.
Oh.
Here's Chris now trying to move forward a little bit. Mortzy has seen tech in that situation a bunch, so there was the change.
I like that chase down from Chris. Mortzy trying to fly away, trying to readjust probably, but now finds himself in the corner. The stunt is imminent. It's gonna happen. And here comes the damage. Looking at match point towards Chris CCH.
It's just been a consistent chase. Chris has been in there, and once he gets in there, again, he gets the read on Mortzy as a player very well.
Gets the Rio bend up behind that Fierce as well.
This is a good spot for Mortzy.
And I like that, still relying on that fireball to get himself out of that corner. But here comes Mortzy yet again. Mistimed the meaty. He just dashed up. Wasn't able to get anything out of it. Chris CCH found that gap.
Chris backing off. Maybe he had read the EX out of there? I don't know.
I mean, it makes sense, right, with that bar?
Oh, God. It's the knockdown. And this has been the bad spot. This has been the bad spot for Mortzy as Chris is in here again. He's almost got super. He's almost got the game and the match.
Ooh, just a little bit too close. Does get the punish, does Mortzy, but the tech is there. Chris CCH is backing off with that poison, slowly winding down. Here comes Mortzy.
Oh, Mortzy knows he cannot take any risks.
GQ. Oh!
Super well, it was going to be it regardless. There was no V-meter to escape. There's Chris. Again, you could really see how much he knew about Mortzy. Yes, the character, clearly he's got familiarity there too. But when it came to just basic things, yes, no questions. Are you going to throw here, or are you going to look for the throw tech, or are you going to go for, you know, what is the solution on offense? He was right almost every time. And once he got into those corner situations, it happened in I think 3 of those rounds. He just knew what to do.
Yeah, and there was a situation, a very interesting one, where Mortzy did get an activation. There was a hard knockdown into activation, right? Caught Chris CCH in this moment where he was in a delay and neutral jump. Chris CCH didn't bite a bit. Mortzy thought he had a read on what Chris wanted to do on offense or on wake up. Not a single button press. Chris CCH just managed to sit there, block it. He's like, I know what you're looking for. So that kind of just attributes to what you were saying about Chris CCH, understanding how the player wants to function in those matchups. So again, big shout out to Chris CCH. Moving on into our top 8 winners. Our second slot already filled, and we're barely getting started here, David.
That's a great matchup right there. Nephew, Chris CCH, 2 very good players. Next one is going to be Samurai versus Dankadillas. How about that? Samurai.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah, right? Of course, Samurai has been using Akuma right as soon as he was released. That's his character.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very surprised he hasn't moved back to Ryu, to be quite honest with you, considering the buffs that Ryu has gotten.
Ryu's good. There's no doubt about it.
Again, Akuma is going to be the tried and true going up against Dankadillas and his Dalsum play. That's also been kind of something that Dalsum's really proud of, right? He's also dabbled with a ton of characters. I know he's been messing around with Urian for a very long time, just to kind of show like the world is like, hey, I can do it with a bunch of other characters too. I'm not just tied to this one Dalsum, but I mean, here he is with top 16 of Dalsum.
Yeah, it's
right?
probably going to be Dalsum. We've seen G out of him. We've seen a bunch of different characters.
Oh, especially that G.
Yeah.
He even has a pocket Dalsum. Or sorry, pocket Dalsum. Blanca. See, I'm already getting confused. Pocket Blanca.
That's true. He does have a Blanca,
we've
yeah.
seen that even at Capcom Cup stage, like in the last chance qualifier, making it that far. So again, this kid's a phenomenal player.
Yeah, and it's really cool that he's here. You know, he's had a tough year. It's been a lot of personal. It's been a challenging year for him personally. Is what I would say about it. So for him to make top 16 in winner's side, have a great chance to make top 8 is a really nice, weekend where hopefully he can feel better about things.
Hopefully. I mean, we're going to see how he goes up against Samurai, who's been the tried and true Shoto in America. I feel like this has been the kind of player that has stopped a lot of top players at major events consistently, and not even just on that stage, but in Street Fighter League as well. More so known for his OCVs, his one character victories, and has shut down a lot of top players, not even just in America, but just in the world, right?
Yeah, he's had that track record for 10 years now. I feel like it's since early mid Street Fighter 4, he has been that player who has been making top 8s very often, has been doing it with Shotos for sure, and even as other people left Shotos for a while in both SF4 and in SF5, he's always been there. That's been what he has wanted to do the entire time, and he's made a very strong practice of it. His fireball game is one of the best. His understanding of when to bring in risks like Dragon Punch, one of the best. His movement, he's very specific with stuff.
Yes.
You can tell that he's breathing right all the time.
Yeah, and it's not easy to do, honestly, the breathing techniques to take in. But on a serious note, Akuma is known for having a plethora of options, the Swiss Army knife of Street Fighter, but being able to manage those options in a split second is very difficult to do and making the right decisions all the time, even taking those kind of risks. And I think Samurai has really brought it down to a science of what kind of option he wants to go to or switch it up at the flip of a switch.
Well, you know, Samurai's already had quite a tournament. He took out Bushin Style, Akita, and White Gun to get into top 16.
That's a name I haven't seen in a while, White Gun.
But very cool. Shout out to Samurai for having done that. Let's hear what he had to say. We're going to go into the player quotes. What do you got? Let's have a good game! Oh, Samurai. Good old Samurai. He also, his additional fact that he wants everybody to know about himself is, quote, I like candles, end quote.
He likes candles?
He just wants you to know he likes candles.
Hey, man, a good scented candle could really help for meditation. That's all I got to say. Let's see what Dankadillas had to say going into top 16. I don't know. This guy's good, though. Good luck to me because I need it. My favorite. Absolutely.
Well, you were telling me earlier that he's been grinding Street Fighter V like nothing else.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's been breaking down the science towards his bracket as well. Him and training partner No Respect and Commander Jesse, all three of them in Discord, are really checking out their brackets and seeing what kind of routes they had even before the game started. So they've been really taking it a lot more seriously this time around because, again, these guys are the Street Fighter players in California for the most part, right? That has been super consistent. So very much so looking forward to seeing what Dankadillas has prepared for Samurai.
Yeah, that's right. And also to watch this match at a high level now. Look, Akuma's a little bit worse. Ryu's a lot better. I would expect Akuma, but I guess we'll see. And Dalsum is, yeah, I mean, you look at the buff and nerf list, and there's definitely more on the nerf side, but I'm telling you, I still think that he's really strong. That V-shift, I think, is a big improvement for him. And Dank, I will say this as well, has always been one of the strongest when it comes to controlling V-trigger 2 and having that kind of mix-up side of Dalsum. It's not just the zoning for him. At Dalsum in Street Fighter V, you need all facets of this. You need both the zoning style, and you also need offense and mix-ups and movement, and he's really, really good. In fact, he told me that part of why he likes Dalsum is that you get to do all this stuff. Yes. He's a movement-heavy character. He's an active character, and it is going to be Akuma versus Dalsum like we expected.
I like this. The Garuda outfit from Fighting Later, I'm a fan. I like that. EX Fighting Later, I'm talking about this. This outfit is spicy.
No surprise, in V-Skill 1, Trigger 1's there as well.
Is this voice amplified as well, or am I tripping? Okay, never mind. It was just me. I was going to say.
I'll stick with it, though. Oh, what a bait. What a bait. That was Samurai expecting the different strength of Drill.
And that distance. Keeping it in check. Keeping that fireball game in check. Dankadillas with the sweep.
Now, stand jab's not going to be as good of an anti-air, so that's why Dankadillas is just getting out of there if he can. But he's caught in the corner, and Samurai, does have trigger
check
now.
on the dash. You saw the low-medium kick come out from the side of Samurai, but Dankadillas just completely stuffed it with the crouch fierce.
Out of there is Dank. Okay. Chance. Oh, he threatened moving in anyway. That's maybe what Samurai expected him not to do. The Samurai has the activation. He's getting in there. He's a dangerous man.
Still found a way to get this activation, and it hit. Samurai now pretty much bleeding.
He's got no life left.
Cooker.
Whatever Dank hits him with is going to be the end of the round, and so there's Samurai on the other side. Just hanging out.
What a call out from Dankadillas. He was willing to fight it out through those air fireballs using that jump back medium punch. Well timed from Dankadillas.
And perfectly spaced to be at a range where that was an option.
Ready
for it is Dank.
Getting a setup with Samurai, still trying to evade anything that comes his way on the ground. Took it to the skies. Dankadillas also ready for that option.
Here's Samurai now. He's really got to make this count. He's been able to get in only a couple times. And that was it.
Mysteries of Yoga.
Just almost surgically placing these normals and also has the offensive side, just like we were talking about earlier. He's got all aspects of Dalsum. He's able to threaten at the same time as he's putting up this incredible wall.
And that's a seasoned veteran move, right? Just challenging the fireball. Even if you trade, it's still a better trade for you because you're winding down the opponent's life bar.
Oh, big chance. Here's Samurai now. He's got the corner. He's almost at super.
And a lot of chip damage coming his way. He tried to go for any sort of movement. Samurai tracked it down with the stand medium kick, keeping him grounded. It had to be a jump. Catching the pre-jump frames, any sort of movement from Dankadillas would have been critical, and it does so. Excellent V-skill choice, challenging the dive kick. What a reaction from Samurai.
Dank challenging there each time. It is his turn, but Samurai's
Anti-air.
okay with busting out. So now things have changed. Samurai has the life lead, and so Dank can't just play that distance zoning game. You see him trying to move forward a little bit here and there.
Ooh. It was a cool choice to use the Tatsu across Dankadillas, but at the same time, catching the landing frames on that, or the big punish on the recovery.
Do you see the patience right there by Samurai just hanging out? And he comes off the V-meter.
I think that's fine. I think that's totally fine for Samurai. Oh, I say that, but still opts to go for the air fireball approach. Dankadillas 100% ready for it.
Well, now that trigger is ready. If he can get in and make something happen, or maybe just raw activate even. We'll see what he goes for, but Dank only needs to hit him 2 more times. Medium punch, a roundhouse in there, anything will do it almost. Samurai knows, and he's being real patient. We've seen him come in with the EX.
Oh, I like this, the walk down from Dankadillas as well. Go ahead.
But I don't know if he wants to come off EX right now. It's going to be a big part of him coming back if he gets it. Yeah, there's
One
one.
more touch.
There's 2. And Dank ends up closing it with those rangy limbs from Dalsum. He was so commonly at the right spot on screen to be ready for something like shutting down the approach of Samurai, whether it was with something like stand medium punch versus a fireball, or ready for the dash with down fierce into a combo. He was at that range a lot. He was at the range where he could do jump back medium punch against the air fireballs approach from Akuma. Really, really impressive spacing from Dankadillas in that game.
Now the question is, what is Samurai going to do for the rest of these matches to kind of take it back from Dankadillas? He's to be really aware that he's closing in on these spaces, right? He's walking him down little by little and kind of forcing these airs against Samurai. He's like, you're going to throw out these fireballs? I'm going to trade you. You're going to do something like that uppercut? I'm going to trade, or I'm going to punish the heck out of you.
But that's Samurai. He is definitely willing to do that sometimes. We saw it wasn't punished. We may see more.
A big trade again from the side of Dankadillas. Good whiff punish. Lands on the
this is an
fireball.
opportunity.
Big mistake for Dankadillas. Now he's going to get a lot of pressure from the side of Samurai to throw, just kind of negating all of it. Oh! Getting away with a dash of his own. Real tricky stuff. Mysteries of Yoga solved.
That's it. No more. Huge hitbox on EX scale. And now Samurai towards the corner generally, but can't get too ahead of himself. Oh!
Oh, he thought it was going to be...
No! Oh, Samurai with the error, and this puts Dank at match point to make top 8.
That hurts. That hurts Samurai, but knowing him, he's just going to move on to the next match. That's all he's got. Or to the next round, excuse me.
Yeah, he's one of the best at just moving on. He was looking for the drill there again as Dank threatens with the approach. You know, he's very hard to peg down right now as Dank. It's hard to know where he's going to be. His movement's good.
Taking on a lot of damage too. 84 seconds left on the clock, and he's already brought Samurai to near half health with a lot of pokes and continuing to lay it on.
Oh, this is a threat. Okay.
Back medium punch. Great anti-air choice.
Samurai running
Stopping that approach again. That's 2 bars decline from Samurai. He does not have enough to survive that instant air jab.
He could have had it with just a combo into the lighter flame, but he chose the wrong one and ended up needing the overhead low mix-up of jump back jab to take it. But for the most part, I would say that was fantastic spacing on Dankadillas' side. He was just so often at exactly the right spot versus Akuma, and it just felt like Samurai rarely even had an opportunity to make things happen. When he did, when he got it like an up-close knockdown mix-up, mix-ups are good. He absolutely did a great work with that. He ended a couple rounds that way. But that just didn't come up very much. The story was really just Dank was at the right spot almost the whole time.
Absolutely. Dankadillas is going to be our 3rd person into the top 8 spot. Let's take a look at what we have to expect afterwards. Mataoha versus Mira at WNF Classic, if you will.
I'm proud of you for the pronunciation. It was great.
I appreciate that.
You did a great job.
I messed up a lot before the show went live. You know that, right?
Well, to me, it sounded perfect. Yeah, that's going to be a fun one for sure.
So yeah, we do have a Balrog from the side of Mataoha who's been grinding it out. We've seen this cat go above and beyond at each and every Wednesday night fights. Offline, online, still continuing it with Balrog. Mira, on the other hand, went from Ibuki into Laura.
Yeah, that's right. I've talked with her about that, and she just was upfront about it, saying that she thought that Ibuki was not as strong as before. This is even a couple seasons ago.
Yes.
And Laura was getting stronger, And she has so much Laura experience with Eli as well. They're both fantastic players. They get to kind of train with each other, and the fact that they use the same character means that there's so much tech, I'm sure, being passed back and forth. It's very cool to watch them on their stream as well. They both do a great job at investigating every single character in the game. But yeah, her Laura is absolutely one of the best. Fantastic knowledge of a lot of little situations, really, really strong spacing in footsies.
That's really dangerous, right? Partners in crime, both using Laura. That's shout out to Eli the Curry, though. I feel like he had a lot to do with influencing that character change for Mira.
No,
right?
probably. I imagine that's right. Yeah. But I believe that this is her third top 16 in a row, if I recall correctly, for CPT NAs. I believe I saw that on Twitter. So she's been very consistently a strong player here in the West Coast.
So again, we have so much to look forward to with that final top 16 winner side game. But before we get into that, we do want to remind you guys that the Red Bull Kumite is happening this month. For those of you that don't know, again, it's happening in London, weekend of the 23rd. A ton of people. They've been doing announcement after announcement, but in total, 16 players from across the globe battling it out on a 10-hour stream. By the way, I hope you guys have set your clocks because that's going to be a very, very long time. Some of the players they've already talked about that are already making an appearance for the Kumite is IDOM, Smug, Problem X, Hurricane as well, Kawano, Tokido, Vegapatch, and Mr. Crimson.
Yeah, those are all really, really strong players. They got a great lineup of commentary as well. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. That is going to be May 23rd. Again, Red Bull Kumite in London this time. You can catch that at twitch.tv/Red Bull.
Also, we had a little snippet of it in-game, too. The Intel World Open. Intel, a world leader in gaming technology. These guys have been doing work. You see them. They will be holding the Intel World Open featuring Street Fighter V Championship Edition. This global esports competition will pit players from around the world against one another in 11 regional finals, where they'll have a chance to fight for a $250,000 prize pool and the honor of representing their country as a champion. If you think you have what it takes, registration is free and open to everyone starting May 15th. Do not miss that date. And for more information, be sure to visit intelworldopen.gg. As you can see down below, all that information. I know you guys got to soak it all in, but this is a huge deal. You do not want to miss your opportunity to compete in the Intel World Open.
Again, we got Mataoha versus Mira coming up. Don't forget that loser's side has yet to happen as well. We got a barn burner down there. The likes of Filipino Man versus Luigi, JB versus Corey Bell, Akita versus Stupendous, and Alex Myers versus Commander Jesse. But before that, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back with that in just a little bit. Hello and welcome back to the CPT-NA West. Number the first. My name is Ultra David and I'm here with Vicious. We've already seen the first 3 matches on winner's side. We got one more match on winner's side for y'all, and then we're going to go down to losers. Let's check it out. So as you can see, already Nephew and UIU Chris CCH are in the next round. Dankadillas as well. So that is the top 8. We'll see those players tomorrow. One more to do. Mataoha or IQ Mira will meet Dankadillas tomorrow.
I'm trying to see if they're going to follow this trend of 2-0s the entire time. 2-0 across the board. It's been that quick. I didn't even know we were going to go to a break until like they mentioned it. Just because of how fast the matches were going, we were so like sucked into all of the action. I know you guys as well are feeling the same way, right? We just want to get into the action, but we also want to give time for our players to prepare. So again, Mataoha versus Mira, Balrog versus Laura is what you could expect.
I think that's right. Yeah, exactly. Mataoha has been putting in great work in Wednesday Night Fights, a name that I've been seeing on the stream there quite often.
Oh, yeah, a ton. Every single week, it's these two at least going at each other. Not even just like a WNF, but they also participate in like Beta Bash as well.
Right.
So there's been a lot of weekly events that both of these two have been showing up at, like and destroying the competition for the most part.
Yeah, definitely both very strong. Mataoha with Boxer, a character that did get some love this season. You know, he's a little bit better. There's a couple Boxer players in other parts of the world doing well as well, and that's cool. I really like watching the character. I'm happy to see that. And as for Laura, she continues to get love too. The last couple seasons, we've definitely seen some buffs come for that character, and she's a big threat.
I also want to take the time out to thank Rob TV and Brian Neff for laying down the groundwork with some of these players that you guys may be seeing for the first time, right? These players are definitely a known force for the Western scene here in North America. So it's going to be that way. You're going to see exactly why with Mataoha and Mira. Very curious to see. I don't know what the record is between them. Like, it's been too long, I feel like, since I've seen them play. But at the same time, I feel like they just played on Thursday. I think they just played each other on Thursday. Let's see what both players have to say about each other in this next match. Mataoha says, Mira is one of the best Lauras, and dealing with her pressure will be a big challenge.
Been playing fighting games all my life, but didn't start competing until 2019. Wow, that's cool.
And that's pretty impressive because that was the time where he really started shaking things up in the standings for WNF. So that's super impressive. Let's see what Mira had to say for Mataoha. We've played many times off and online, so I'm really looking forward to playing Mataoha again.
We've got a couple players in California here. Mira also says, oh, you'll appreciate it.
Oh, I definitely do appreciate it. I've seen
all right. My favorite Pokemon is Eevee.
I'm a fan, Mira. We got to talk. We got to talk about the evolutions, but we'll talk about the matchup instead. Balrog versus Laura. Again, these two are no strangers to each other going into this matchup. So I guess all we have to really talk about is the characters, right? Balrog versus Laura in that matchup. How do you feel about that one?
Yeah, I mean, it's a volatile matchup, obviously. It's a matchup where Laura can run the table so well. Boxer has, a 3-frame button, but nothing else in terms of the defensive choices, at least in situations that Laura can put him in. So when I see this matchup, it feels like it's a case of Boxer really trying super hard to not be in that mix at all. Now, if he's up close, pressuring himself, he can definitely be a big threat, obviously, right? But that seems like the crux of it to me. Does it become Mira's turn on offense enough? And it only needs to happen a couple of times.
Now I'm looking forward to seeing how often Mira is put on the defensive end, right? Now that you've mentioned the offensive capabilities of Laura, and we've all seen for quite some time, I'm kind of curious to see how Mataoha is going to navigate around that and put Mira on the back foot. Let's take a look.
Ooh, already at a threatening spot. Yeah, this is definitely where Mira would rather be.
And I like the choice from Mataoha, 2-2. With Disco and Trigger.
Okay, I like it. So, right.
Ooh. Yes.
With the big threat of that plus on block dash punch. Right? Oh, boy. Even on block, that was actually a really good corner carry.
You see Mira just trying to reclaim that space control for the most part with that Thundercloud. But I got Mira with that target combo from that far. Super impressive.
Mira understands those situations. Ooh. Okay, called out the backdash. Time to party. Yeah.
And what a good choice for Mataoha, but he still has to worry about that command grab. Great block on the overhead. Press the button. I feel like that was a startup of throw there. I feel like there was that animation from Boxer going for the back throw.
Oh, yeah. It was not the right time. As Mira gets the hit from there, she's going to get pressure out of this. Oh, taking risks as well. Into the corner. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. One more. Not just key wake up. Oh, super, super important battle with that 3-friend normal.
Mira, but still does not skip a beat whatsoever. A lot of this offensive pressures come from the Thunderclap.
Her timings on offense were so unusual there. The stab in with the shoulder was at timings that I didn't expect. Clearly, Mataoha did not expect as well. And not just that, but when she was pressuring with like crouching short jab, rather than, as people will typically do, just doing that and then like maybe you cancel it into something or maybe you try to get a command grab or whatever. That's the time the Thunderclap came out right there. And Mataoha wasn't ready for that. So super, super good game one from Mira.
But as we've talked about time and time again, usually that game is the process of information. They're trying to gather all the information from their opponents. So Mataoha already having a great offensive start, but what is he going to do about this Thunderclap? Oh, he's going to wait and sit it out. Look at the carry and the damage. Great tech from Mira, but checked with the fierce.
Oh, what a backdash into a great position. However, big however. Oh, no.
It's
One
the
more,
scramble,
maybe.
David.
Yo,
It's the scramble, David. You can't get out of it. You're stuck in this blender. Oh, no. Sit him down. Mira. IQ in front of her name for the big brain plays. That's what I'm talking about.
Woo. God. The killing eye is on Mira's side.
Woo-wee. That was nutty. That was actually nutty.
A little bit of patience here from Mira. It's not all wild offense. The great thing about her play is that she picks those moments well.
And I like that. Yeah, just going away with it with the Thunderclap. Still stopping with the anti-air from Mataoha. Trying to maintain that pressure. Again, I like that trade, but here comes party time. Laura with the back throw. This is huge in terms of the placement. Oh!
He was calling out a bigger button from Mira, and Mataoha was right. However, it is not over yet as Mira is here. Mataoha just trying to scramble and find something.
Again, you mentioned that pressure from Laura. How is Boxer going to respond? Slowly finding his way out the corner. Great view reversal. A nice and easy check on wake up from Mataoha. Finds himself on the board for game 2. Oh yeah, gets a charge for free.
Definitely a stolen moment. And interesting to see how often Mira is okay with being at -2. Up close versus Boxer. Ooh. Taking the opportunity. Oh, the range was interesting. However, Mataoha fights well.
Yeah, and I like that. Just within range to check the startup of Thunderclap. Very smart decision from Mataoha, but here comes Mira. Gets the right angle to avoid the anti-air. This is huge.
Slightly mistimed. The safety, though, as Mira's here.
And the counter hit conversion. Did you see that? Mira was 100% ready for that counter hit conversion.
Her Thunderclaps are killer right now. Mataoha's in big trouble. That's going to be it. Mira will make top 8. We'll see her tomorrow versus Dankadillas. Congrats to IQ Mira. Her offense was so good, but again, it wasn't just about that. It was about her finding those moments to begin the offense, right? It's not that she is overcommitting too much. It's that she's
not at all.
She's looking for these very precise moments and then capitalizing to the best of her ability. That's exactly what she did, and Mataoha, did fight well in some of these situations, especially in the second to last round. But other than that, boy, the story, I think, is really how strong of the mix-ups that Mira brought to bear.
A majority of those mix-ups came from frame traps.
Yeah,
for a majority of that match. I didn't see too many walk-up command grabs or just delayed command grabs. I don't think I only saw that one time throughout the entirety of that series. And again, that just shows you how scared or how scary a situation can be with Laura, especially after a Thunderclap situation, even after those lights. As you mentioned earlier, bringing that out there has been the biggest deterrence for Mataoha.
Yeah, and the range that she brought it out was so interesting. I'm always very, very happy to watch top-level Laura players because their bravery in bringing out Thunderclap is second to none. She brought it out in ranges where definitely Boxer could have pressed buttons, but the thing is that that's not what Mataoha was looking for. So the mix-up kind of starts there, right, even in bringing in the Thunderclap, but that's so important for getting the game going, and clearly, as you guys saw, that was extremely important for Mira in qualifying for top 8 winners. So congratulations to her. That's the last winners match that we have for you all today. That's already locked up. Let's check it out. A little bit of a recap. It's Nephew versus UIU Chris CCH, and then it'll be Dankadillas versus IQ Mira.
already have our top 4 and top 8, really. That's quick. 2 O's all across the board. You guys see it. Absolutely can see it. Here comes the losers bracket, though. Moving on with Equinox's own Filipino Man rocking Rose and Luigi rocking Guile. Fresh from a win from the Beta Bash. JB versus Corey Bell. Akita versus Stupendous, as well as Alex Myers and Commander Jesse to round out round 1 of loser side.
It's super cool to see Filipino Man up there. This is the guy who was so excited about getting Rose, and I'm sure he'll be excited that the top 4 will receive $5,000. Now, he's not there yet. But that will come tomorrow.
The prospect of it
is
pretty exciting.
There, absolutely. Yep.
Being able to do this and register at the comfort of your own home and for free is a pretty huge deal considering everything that's been going on, right? So again, it's going to be Equinox's own Filipino Man going up against Luigi with brother Mario, who's been shaking up things for the West Side in the Street Fighter V world, doing a ton of work with both of their characters. Luigi making it up here from losers, I think, had a very interesting run on the way over here, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he got sent to losers by Rambro and then had to beat Sabian and then Yanoob, actually, to get into top 16. It's a pretty tough path for sure. Filipino Man lost to Nephew, beat Comeback Kid before that, and then had to also beat Comeback Kid to qualify after that.
2 times over.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Shout outs to Comeback Kid. We've watched a good amount of you too, but
for sure.
It'd be like that sometimes. Filipino Man, again, very grateful to have that Rose back in his hands. That was one of the characters, one of the players that I was looking forward to seeing how they were going to dissect this brand new character. Because you know how it is with the trends. When it comes to a new character, a lot of folks kind of dismiss the character pretty early, right? That's not the case, happened. I feel like.
No. And like I was saying, I'm excited for him because he obviously loves the character in Street Fighter IV. He was one of the best in the world with Rose, making deep runs at EVO with that character. But she's quite different this time around, right? She really is quite a substantially different character. So I'm happy that he nevertheless is excited by her, right? Like, that's all. It's cool to me. I think Rose is super sick. I really enjoy watching Rose, but I'm not the Rose player, so I'm happy that the Rose players are excited about Rose as well. I think that's very cool. She's got some super cool, very interesting tech, very unique options in the context of this game. And if you aren't ready for them, if you haven't seen them yet, then you're definitely going to get caught off guard. And if you give tech like that to Filipino Man, because he's not coming up with it, but if you give it to Filipino Man,
he'll abuse the heck out of it.
Absolutely, he will abuse the heck out of that stuff. And he'll also have the fantastic neutral game that was the biggest reason that he made those deep runs at EVO with Rose in Street Fighter IV.
And I had the luxury of getting to know Filipino Man over the course of these past couple of games of Street Fighter.
Right, yeah.
And it's interesting to hear his thoughts. When I would watch him stream or would watch him like in Discord dissect the characters and his opponents at the same time, it's like he really has a knack for fighting games that is above and beyond. Just at a similar point of all the professionals that we've encountered, he really puts in the time to understand the nuances of a player more so than just the characters too, really looking out for any sort of bad habits, any sort of patterns to break apart. He is definitely one of those cats that are super dangerous. And the same with Luigi. Actually, Luigi, we don't even get to talk about too much, but I do believe we have our quotes ready from both players. And getting into this top 16, let's take a look at what both players have to say about each other. I'm sure this isn't the first time they've met. Filipino Man says, "I've always been the secret West Coast gatekeeper, just here to ruin people's bracket. Now that the cameras are out, Rose is too." That's beast. I appreciate that.
Is it a secret? Is that a secret?
And listen, I feel like Filipino Man has had a lot with his career going on and has kind of taken Street Fighter V a notch down. Like, he wasn't taking it as serious. So he considered himself as a secret West Coast gatekeeper.
Okay, fair enough. We'll let him rock with that. He also wants you to know my birthday's in 4 days and I'm getting old.
Hey, you stop talking about how old you feel, Filipino Man.
What does that even
Don't
mean?
you do that, please.
What decade are we even talking about?
I feel like he was like 14 to 16 when he entered Street Fighter 4.
Yeah, he was young, definitely.
Sheesh.
Yeah, for sure.
We have another young cat on the other side, Luigi. Let's take a look what he had to say going into it. He says he'll go Rose, but I know what to expect. I think it's going to be Rose, Luigi.
Yeah, I kind of think it's going to be Rose, too.
To be
I
honest
guess we'll
with you.
see. That would be cool if there was something else. He also says, and I believe him, an EX flash kick will be used in my top 16 run.
Should we just count out how many times he does so? Because I'm a fan. I'm a fan of his EX flash kicks, to be honest with you. He rides or dies by that move.
Yeah, and he's right a lot of the time. But it's not just about that for him. I think his Guile has a ton of control. His Guile has the great offensive capability that character has. And I'm really happy to still see him playing. Guile's still super good. the nerfs that he got were not the kind of things that kill a character. So it's definitely still within his capability. We've seen him do well, right? It's still definitely something that we're seeing.
I think the inclusion of V-Shift and V-Break kind of changes up the Sonic Boom game significantly for the likes of Guile, but it's not something to really deter yourself from playing this character like ever again. It's not like, oh man, this nerf is significant, or this new mechanic is significant enough for me to change characters. No, Luigi has been sticking it out with Guile and doing tremendous work. Just won the Beta Bash not too long ago, hosted by Punk the God, and has taken down a lot of the players in the loser side, even on the winner side. But if you're looking at the run that he currently has, he fought off against JB literally a couple days ago and took it down. And Nephew also.
It's a good list of players right there for sure. Yeah. No, it's a cool story that he and his brother have had over the past year or so, becoming so prominent in West Street Fighter players, Street Fighter tournaments, and becoming a couple of the top players. Super cool to see. It is Rose!
That's one bad guess so far.
Will he be 1-0?
No, I mean, this is going to be a very, very exciting match, as this is our first time really getting to see how Rose will be played on a stage like the Capcom Pro Tour. And the song is a slapper. I'm telling you right now. Tasty Steve agrees with me. I know he does. Somewhere he's popping up. Oh, this song is so sick. Ooh. Oh, I thought that was going to run into the soul punish.
I know. I'm hyped for it, too. Even still with the backdash, huh? Filipino Man can't get away from it.
I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Oh, that's one. At least he didn't use meter for it.
I guess it's not really one. Yeah, can we call that? No, I'm going to say EX only. EX only.
EX only.
He's scheming on the approach here, trying to bait something for Filipino Man.
And
the Baby Boom connects. On block. Here's...
Oh, this is huge for Filipino Man. Ooh, not scared at all. EX Soul Spiral. I could hear the amount of buttons Filipino Man pressed from this seat to get that to activate. I promise you there was a lot. There was an echo through the studio. I could hear it.
All the way from the other side of SoCal. Yeah, this battle in the neutral game right here has been interesting. She's got some rangy buttons. There's an example of it.
Oh, yeah.
Into pressure, too. That's what she's looking for, and it is. Here's Filipino Man.
Again, back-to-back throws. He's going to go for another one. Oh, he tried to bait out any sort of reaction, but Luigi jumping back to safety now with all the momentum. Big tech from Filipino Man.
Uh-oh.
Even bigger punish from Luigi.
Making it work for himself.
I love this.
Will he turn this into mix-ups, or is he here for damage, man? I think he's here for damage.
I think it's all damage, David.
It's pixel at a time. We're slowly counting down. 29-30. That's... Oh!
Yeah.
Oh, you thought it was
I thought it was going to be EX. I wanted to see it. I wanted to see the scaling. He's like, I don't care about this meter.
Oh, you got him. Really nothing out of Luigi. Okay. Filipino Man backs off. He's got trigger one here.
Oh,
Look for the teleport. And
oh, this is huge right here. In a very precarious situation, Filipino Man does have full critical art. The mix is blocked by Luigi. EX flash kick. That is the one, and that is how he was done. Hook, line, and sinker, Filipino Man taking the first game. Man, even the narrator was excited for that. Rose wins.
That's true, yeah. Well, like Luigi did say an EX flash kick will be used in my top 16 run, but Rose had his fortune already told and knew when it was coming out. Game number one going to Filipino Man.
I like the way you do things, David.
The pressure in the corner that we saw from Luigi, I mean, was good, right, when it came up. But other than that, I'm thinking about a lot of neutral game control at about that, like, 1/3 screen range at where, like, Stand Fierce, the forward medium, that kind of forward roundhouse is really, really good for Rose. And that looked uncomfortable for Luigi at that position, which is a position that typically Guile does really well in.
Even in that scenario where Luigi had Rose in the corner, had Filipino Man at the corner, one of the things he has to think about is how volatile Filipino Man can actually be, throwing out that EX Soul Spiral from that range. He wasn't accounting for, like, looking for a boom. He was just going to do it no matter what. And I promise you, he was just going to do it no matter what.
Well, he was right about it. So
if it
game
works,
number one there, as Luigi has to think about how to approach this. Again, that kind of mid-rangey spot where Guile typically does well. And we only saw the Street Fighter Cross Tekken Jin Fireball that I'll never know what the real name is, so I'm going to call it that constantly.
Oh, that's Soul Punish.
From Rose. Yeah, when she does the Jin Fireball, that's tough for Guile, I think, behind, right? So she's kind of caging him, right? She has these great normals at, again, that kind of third-ish range. But behind him is also this thing that's about to explode.
Right.
So both of those things are things that he has to consider.
That's like the Monot factor, right? Throwing out the orb, having that pressure there, it's kind of hard to even try to move forward if it's just right behind you, right? You might run into it. He might
Was
not.
there a change here? No, okay, he still got true. Oh my god! He still got trigger 1, D-skill 2. That's what we saw before.
Ooh. Already off to a great start. Luigi now maintaining this momentum, pushing Filipino Man to the corner. That forward roundhouse hit the mark. Crush counter.
Yeah, look at the patience here from Luigi. Again, that's the spot where oftentimes he'll want to press buttons or throw booms. Filipino Man just out of there. Oh, God.
Yeah, really utilizing that V-trigger to the utmost potential. Just trying to get that mix going. But Luigi, and I like that, yeah, using the rest of the V-trigger to get himself out of the corner. Very smart decision. Uh-oh, you're going to be taking a ton of chip damage and adding up some of that gray life.
Ugh. Luigi is in trouble. He's got full trigger, but nevertheless in trouble because what a whip punish. Time to start it up. Here he goes.
I'm liking this.
Patience.
Navigating past the fireball, gets the shift out of there, resets the situation, and the soul punish.
The Street Fighter Cross Tekken Jin fireball from Filipino Man.
I'm gonna keep saying the name, David,
Well,
until you do it.
You know.
I got you. Don't worry.
Yeah, it'll dribble into my brain eventually. It's gonna take a while.
So Filipino Man already looking at match point. Luigi having a really hard time going past these normals that Rose presents. This is what I'm talking about. The control you mentioned earlier, misplaced the knee bazooka.
Very rare to see that. There's Luigi again, slowly approaching the soul bat was there. He's got the life lead even still. Nice, I love this pressure. Oh, intended pressure anyway, but Filipino Man battled out.
I like that. That's the third time Filipino Man has gone for the throw after activation, and Luigi just steps right out of the range a little bit.
Okay, Luigi's defense is on point. The question is, can it last much longer? Filipino Man's getting close to having super.
One touch will essentially do it for Filipino Man. However, Luigi just needs to get a couple of setups here and there. Big sweep. That's a good start. Another big whiff punish from the side of Luigi. Doesn't want to go for the overhead. A lot of soul spirals coming from the side of Filipino Man, getting this chip damage going, but I feel like the threat of chip is not imminent. Oh no!
Oh, Filipino Man's going to take it on the strength of that. Luigi thought that he had the whiff punish. It's a great whiff punish tool, but he just wasn't quite there. And then paid for it with the match. And unfortunately for him, with his CPT tournament. That's it. Again, this is loser's side. That's Filipino Man moving on to the top 12. What a match, though. There were certainly moments in there where Luigi looked good, but he still misplaced things a couple of times. Very rare to see from him. And again, that kind of range that we were talking about earlier between games looked like a very frustrating spot for him.
Yeah. And you kind of saw, we kind of harped on this earlier, now talking about the side of Filipino Man, when it comes to him and understanding how his opponents want to move or the kind of normals they want to throw out, he does a really great job of it. You saw towards the end there, Luigi was complacent with trying to get these whiff punishes to slowly whittle down that victory. Filipino Man intentionally threw out a soul spiral to see if Luigi would consistently punish it, right? Just outside of range, taking down the entire game based off of that read alone. That's exactly the kind of risk that Filipino Man is willing to take as well. And just goes to show you how much he's really studied upon his opponents in the heat of that match.
Yeah, super, super well played by Filipino Man. The secret threat of the West Coast. No, but shout-outs to him. Again, very, very cool to see him up here in the top 16 using a character that he enjoys. Happy for him. Again, he's not on to top 8 yet. He's got to get past Mataoha first, or maybe Mataoha's got to get past Filipino Man. We'll have that one later.
Yeah.
Then in loser side, the next one, JB versus Victrix Corey Bell. Winner of that will play Samurai. But JB and Corey Bell, what do you think about these two?
You know, I haven't seen Corey Bell too much since he started adopting the ways of Ed. Yeah. Right. For the most part, we've seen Corey Bell as a Zangief main. But is starting to enter a lot more like weekly events, like online events. So we're starting to see him a lot more. I have encountered Corey Bell in ranked, unfortunately, and he would destroy the hell out of me. Honestly, I like his transition from Zangief to Ed. Very excited to see how JB kind of matches up, because JB is a world-class player in my opinion. One of the best Rashids out there, in my humble opinion. I think this is going to be a very interesting interaction. I think they haven't gone against each other too many times on this stage of top 16. So if I were to really think about it, Rashid is really a handful. he really is a handful. But I do like the kind of changes that Ed has, the offensive capabilities he has now, the amount of damage he's able to do. So honestly, I don't even know how I would call it between JB and Corey Bell. Even considering their history, I don't even know how to call it this time.
Yeah, I mean, I have been seeing Corey Bell play Ed. I run into him on ranked all the time as well, and he's been playing that character for, a couple of years. It's not a new pickup for him.
Yes.
But now that Ed does have some of his holes plugged a little bit, he's a little bit stronger in terms of triggers as well. He is a threat for sure. And we see other players picking him up too. I'm watching that guy Nemo out in Japan play this character as well. So I do certainly think that there's strength there with Ed. And just the other week, Corey Bell made top 8 in Wednesday Night Fights. So he's a strong player. He's been strong in other games too. He's been strong in Street Fighter V in the past. So I'm not willing to say that I think he's got too tough of a road here, even though it is JB, because JB may, in full honesty, may be the favorite coming into this, but it's not going to be as disparate, I think, as if you're not familiar with Corey Bell, you may expect.
So we are going to see that. It's going to be JB versus Corey Bell. Let's see what they have to say against each other going into this top 16 matchup. JB, Ed is random. That's exactly the kind of tone he would say it too.
Dude,
Ed is random.
You could put any noun at the beginning of that sentence, and it's a quote from JB regardless. That's his word.
It's mad random.
It's random. That's the JB. That's what he wants you to know. He also said, "I'm your grandma's favorite Rashid." That's the fact.
I gotta call out my Lola and see if this is true. I'm sure I'm gonna call my Lola right now. I was like, who's your favorite Rashid? If she says JB, I'm taking him out for dinner.
I hope it's true. I hope it's true. All right, what do we got from Corey Bell? We got, "It's Rashid. Need I say more? I wish you had, but I get the point." Rashid is definitely one of the strongest characters in the game. Has been for however long Street Fighter V's been around, and continues to be so. Has had some changes here and there, certainly, but is still super, super good. Corey Bell also wants you to know, and this is true, he's great at it, cosplayer for 10-plus years. He's had some really good cosplays, for sure.
He's been at events as Sakura a good amount of times and does a great job doing so, honestly. Definitely. And there was a tweet out there. I think it was one between, I forgot who it was, but Corey Bell actually retweeted something. He's like, there was a quote saying, if I see you as a cosplayer in my pools, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be stressed out about it. I think, who was that?
I don't remember who it was either, but I saw the tweet as well. Yeah. But look, Corey Bell is an example of somebody who's great at both.
Small boy, big churn, if I'm not mistaken. That's a CFM. The person who put out that tweet.
Oh, you're talking about Brutus.
I absolutely am.
Okay,
I didn't want to put his name on.
Well, it's out there, buddy. Nice work. All right, so it is indeed Ed versus Rashid. That's what we were expecting. Oh, no. That's a bummer. JB's already in exactly where he wants to be.
Forward throw. Tries to V-shift back into the corner, I should say. The flicker's coming a lot more from Ed. And again, Ed does a great job of just whittling down his opponent's life bar.
He's a character who's definitely had some significant strengths for quite a while. It's just that he's also had some significant issues. And like I said, some of those are a little bit better now.
Oh, that could have been a huge punish.
I'm not. Here's JB. He's in the corner. He's where he wants to. Oh, boy.
What a bait towards the end, too. That could have been dangerous. Had Corey Bell gone for a different option, that could have been lights out for JB because that V-trigger was ready and rounded up from the side of Corey Bell. But still, first round goes to JB.
Taking from him into the corner. It's JB pressuring now. Okay, spends a bar. That 3-bar trigger.
Oh. And again, being able to convert off of these crush counters is significant for Ed. And I like the choice of V-skill too, kind of having that sway to check from further distances with the normal.
Oh, it's a cool idea, but
man.
Didn't quite work out as I think he wanted. He was actually in the corner because of it.
Oh, and the side switch, willing to take that risk. I like that from JB.
With the corner, right? He moved himself into the corner for the mix-up, and it worked, as you could see. It is a bit of a risk, but he was right about it, and that was a really strong game from him.
That was the second scenario where I saw Corey Bell not willing to throw down that EX bar to go into the Psycho Upper. EX Psycho Upper, there was a situation where he got out of the corner and let JB out of the corner for free and didn't even flinch. I think holding on to that meter was definitely the downfall for Corey Bell. I think threatening with that EX Upper would have been crucial for that particular set, or that match, I should say.
He did try it in round number 1, and it didn't work out, but I take your point that it seemed like JB kind of did whatever he wanted to do in stretches of that. that is to say, like, he did a great job at just running in there. Round start in that second round, he just came in with the whirlwind, with the spinner, and pressured right away, and then basically never let go.
That's true, yeah.
So I get maybe there should be a little bit more activity on Corey's side. However, I heard in my earphones that it sounded like we went back to the lobby, and I'm wondering if that's going to be character select. No. Okay. It's not going to be a different character. It's still going to be Ed. Did he maybe change a V skill or a V trigger?
I forget that there is significant startup on the EX upper. So even though JB, even though does get the mix, he's throwing out a light regardless so that he recovers in time to bait that. So my mistake. Corey Bell, I totally understand where you're coming from, not wanting to risk that meter, but again, that mix is so hard to call.
He did do meaty throw, stand medium punch a couple times. All right.
Man, that little chuckle towards the end.
Yeah. I can just see Corey like laughing along when that happens. Okay, interruption with the 3-framer. Here comes JB. The flicker from Corey Bell.
I like that. What was that,
Safe
after
stuff.
a backdash too?
Yeah, right.
Really well placed there from Corey Bell, finding signs of life. First round into game 2, JB trying to make the first move, letting the whirlwind shot rip. EX gets the first throw.
What an interesting choice out of JB. Neutral jump down medium. And then ready there. You can see how prepared he is.
Ooh, that's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Finding that gap through that frame trap, letting the EX upper rip. Getting the spark out, threatening. He hasn't really threatened with any of the psycho shots for the most part, but again, it's kind of hard when JB is pretty much closing the gap every single moment that he gets.
There's not a lot of range. Oh, wow. It's JB.
Don't get thrown.
Uh-oh.
And then don't get thrown again. Oh, okay, it's fine. He wasn't triggered.
Okay, now we got the upgraded trigger this season. As you see, it's kind of a guard break, but it's maybe more graphical than that. Wow, the trade's great for JB for a match point.
I'm liking that decision there from JB. Corey Bell on the back foot yet again with full critical art. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Finding the gaps and taking advantage of that situation. Back throw. Another one within range. He was walking backwards.
He was looking for that EX upper.
Oh, big crush counter. Still caught the tail end of that V-shift. Don't do it again in the corner. Oh, boy, that was supposed to be quote-unquote nerfed.
Yeah, and JP still at the corner. Or threatening to get in there. Double dash. Corey was ready with it.
Oh, not spending the bar at all. I understand, but here comes JB now.
Oh.
Might not even give you a chance to spend it.
No, he's got super. Next hit from here is going to be the round in the game in the match. Corey tried to get out. We saw that happen twice, and each time that Corey had that V reversal to try to get out, JB had the punish. He was ready for that 2 times, and that's why he's going to be moving on.
They need to make that V reversal a little further out. IMO.
I mean, you know.
But again, JB 100% ready for all the scenarios that Corey Bell had for defense, right?
Yeah.
Some of the V shifts blown up. Some of the V reversals blown up as well. EX cycle upper, not a chance.
Yeah, no, it was really, really good pressure. And again, in that second game, he did the kind of the same thing. I mean, there was a round for Corey, but there was another round start where JB just spinning mixer right in, right? He just started it off really quickly. And once he got going, yeah, you're totally right. He made great offensive choices versus the defensive choices that he expected of Corey. And very commonly, he was right. So, hey, shout outs to Corey for making the top 16. That's super cool.
Absolutely.
Doesn't work out for him. JB will move on and play against Samurai in what I'm sure will be a barn burner of a match.
How many barns can you actually burn? Not enough. Here we go. It's going to be Akita versus Stupendous coming up next as well. Very excited to see that. And, of course, rounding it out, Alex Myers versus Commander Jesse. That's brutal. Absolutely brutal. So, again, Akita coming from Phoenix, Arizona, rocking that Dulcium, one of the 3. And then Stupendous, it's kind of tough. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's going to pick Zangief. But at the same time, he's been dabbling with the plethora of characters. You also mentioned that he's had a pretty significant Balrog that's made top 8 at a Wednesday night fights a good amount of times, and also streams with that character pretty often.
Yeah, I've definitely seen them play that character a bunch. So I think if he's picking on matchup here, I would certainly expect for that to be the boxer, the choice. And in fact, you know, if you look at the bracket, Akita already got through Dr. Danny Pham, a very strong Zangief player as well. And I'm assuming that, you know, Danny did use Geef in that match. It's basically what he plays. So that's a matchup that Geef is I don't know. Is he better? I'm not really sure. He got a couple of nerfs. He got a couple of buffs. I'm not convinced that the V-shift mechanic helps him more than it hurts him, but triggers a little bit better. It's doable versus Dalsum, but also I definitely think that Dalsum has the advantage in that matchup, to be perfectly clear. So, I guess we'll see Akita versus Stupendous. We're not going to see that one quite yet. We're going to take another quick little break. Make sure that you stick around.
Back after the ultimate improvement. Father! Psycho! What's up? The legend has now begun. Burn this in your memory. Psycho! Whoosha! To honor Father, Big Bro will do his best.
Continuing on from the bottom side of the bracket, we do have Akita and Stupendous getting ready to go here in the Capcom Pro Tour for the North American West. Vicious back at it again with Ultra David. We hope you guys have been enjoying all the matches because we've been talking about it nonstop, even after the break, even during the break, sure. I should say. We're just going wild. And for a very good reason, right? All these players extremely talented, as we can expect from the Capcom Pro Tour. Akita versus Stupendous. We kind of preface this with the characters. Let's see again where they're at and where they're going to face off. afterwards, right? Between these two, they have to face off against Mortzy. We'll see how that happens. And then, of course, Alex Myers and Commander Jesse going up and seeing who faces on Rambro in round 2.
Very interesting character path right there. Akita versus Stupendous. That's probably going to be Dalsum and Zangief. Maybe Boxer? I guess we'll see. And then Fang, an unusual 3. Pretty cool that we're seeing as much as we are. Maybe I shouldn't say that Dalsum's unusual. There's 3 in this top 16, for example. Very well represented.
Is that a West Coast thing, David?
The Dalsim?
Yes.
I mean, there's great Dalsums in the East Coast as well. There's great Dalsums in the UK and Europe. There are great Dalsums in Japan. There are Dalsums all over the place. I'm telling you.
Nobody talks
I don't want to
about...
upplay this character, but
That's what I was waiting for. Yeah, I mean, like Arturo Sanchez, also one of the leading Dalsums on the East
Absolutely.
Coast as well, doing an amazing work, actually. Still getting within like top 3, even taking out some tournaments. And he also just played in sets not too long ago. I mean, he's still putting in the work, man. That old man can play.
Absolutely, yeah. There's no reason to expect it otherwise. I mean, at CPT Japan the other day, there were how many players in their 35th through 39th and 11 months age, almost at the big 40 where they people can keep playing for a long time. All right, let's see what these players have to say. We got the quotes ready to go, lined up for you. We have first up TGZ Akita. Next match is definitely not one to miss. My opponent is very skilled. An exciting match, to say the least. And he also says, Dalsim player inspired by young art.
That's what I'm talking about. That wasn't even intentional.
It wasn't. It wasn't. We hadn't talked about it, but that's what he wants you to know. He also says, we need more people to love Sim. Well, I'm very happy that I could be on commentary for this. You know, I love the character. I've been playing grapplers and zoners dedicatedly for a dozen years. I'm super into this.
I feel like this is a huge internal conflict for you because this two of your former favorite characters, right?
Yes.
Let's take a look at what Stupendous had to say going up into it. Akita needs to apologize for playing that character. It's so strange.
Dude, by the way, 9 years ago was when this picture was taken. I saw him talk about it on Twitter. This is a picture from quite some time ago. I like it. Ooh, young Stupendous.
Is that 9 years ago?
That's what he said.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true at all because we've only known him as long-haired Stupendous. That was when he was around for Street Fighter 4. I feel like that's a fake picture. that is a current picture, not 9 years ago. That is him currently because he donated all his hair.
Is that so?
That is true.
Wow.
He donated all his hair. I don't believe you, Stu. Don't lie to us.
How about that? Yeah, as far as the match.
Didn't donate it to me, but.
No.
Clearly not. Must be nice, David.
Yeah, it is pretty nice, actually. Thanks, buddy.
Akita versus Stupendous. Dalsum versus Zangief. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, it is a tough matchup for Zangief, if that's what he goes with here.
Right.
It's hard for Dalsum. It's hard for Zangief, I should say, to just get in. I mean, it's the exact matchup that you would think it is, right? It's Dalsum controlling space for the most part. It's not just that. He's got good pressure if he needs to make it happen. He can definitely do stuff up close, too. And Zangief's V meter is really dear to him. He'd rather not do a V shift to try to get a knockdown, which is possible in some situations. If you call out a limb, you can do that. But again, that's dear to you. The trigger mix-ups are so strong and important, the damage out of that. Did he go with Geef?
Seth
Okay,
is the choice. Okay.
Yeah,
so we kind of dismissed this character in the wheelhouse of options that Stupendous has, but he's been grinding it out with this character as well. Made a ton of top 16 appearances when Seth was prevalent. However, it's been a whole different story since then. I have not really seen too many Seths running rampant nowadays because of the significant changes that Seth received. But the fact remains that Seth is still kind of the same character without dive kick.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Also, I guess the situation I have to throw is a little bit worse. Like, there's a couple of other things. Yeah. But certainly still a legit character. One of the better ones. However, even before, I thought that Dalsum had a lot to say in this matchup. So we'll see if Stu can get in. He's threatening to move in there. Oh, I love the slide to get out of dodge.
So far, it's been pretty back and forth. Stupendous has had a pretty solid encounter with Dalsum so far. Not really threatened by the long-range normals as much. Has made his way into close quarters a good amount of times and already, forcing Akita to go into that trigger off the slide.
Couple plus frames here. The cancel from last season. Love it. Oh, look at the hit, though. That was so sick.
Very smart. As long as it hits, you can go into the rest of that V-trigger.
Beautiful from Stu. What a walk back. He's got super. And he's going to
spend it without a doubt. Hecatoncheires into the critical art. That's going to be more than enough, I feel like, even with the scaling. Because you're still in trigger. Extra damage. Mumra has been defeated.
Pretty consistent forward movement from Stu. And even though he got knocked out, oh boy, huge start, the Linkity. Oh no!
He tried to go for a reset. He could have easily gone into the Mad Cradle, but opted to go for a throw, possibly to push Akita further into the corner, but out he goes back into this mid-space game. Not going to let Stupendous jump back in for free again, but he doesn't need to if he gets the back throw.
Still stuck mostly in the corner here is Akita. That orange bar still pretty high.
And again, the dive kick placement has been pretty on point for Akita, allowing him to continue that pressure. The stun is slowly going away, but doesn't really need to...
Oh, no! Gigantic call out from Stupendous. It was a big call out on the Fierce for Akita, 2 at a risk.
The damage! One more touch, any frame trap can kill Dawson.
Oh no, that was actually a bummer for the V reversal. And here's...
Oh, this is tough. Yeah, plus frames, you cannot move. You're not allowed to. But I feel like he did not have V reversal at that moment. So YHC, oh, excuse me, I was reading the name. Akita, not YHC Mochi, was stuck in that checkmate scenario.
Yep.
That critical art was coming out regardless.
Yeah, no, that was a bad spot to be. I mean, conceivably he could have teleported back, I guess, but that's not the decision that he chose. He tried to challenge. I don't think it said counter hit. I think he just tried to do
he
something.
Tried to move.
Yeah, he just
100%
tried to move. So, you know, it was an unfortunate call for him. Consistently, the forward movement from Stupendous, including big jump-ins, big just roundhouse jump-ins have been huge for Stupendous to start things off here. So that's something Akita's got to be looking for here. Yeah, you see him very, very much more focused on anti-air so far.
Still jumping in as a choice of closing the gap for Stupendous, but Akita...
I mean, you got to do it sometimes, and especially with that or the mix-up of that or that right there.
Yes,
that's going to be gigantic. And okay, Stupendous with the knockdown into the corner. But you can see Akita is definitely more focused on the anti-air.
Ooh, trying to get that back throw. Akita just trying to claim some space, teleporting out just a little bit. Ooh, and such a deep angled dive kick to maintain that offensive pressure. Stupendous is now on the back foot, but any solid hit? Oh, I take it back. Akita taking the round with that back throw and a good amount of meter to boot.
We saw a few down strongs from him that really shut Stupendous down. So he is looking at that. That said, Stupendous is still looking at Dawson's offensive options. A little bit too far for the rest.
Yep.
Oh! Juggle, no, it didn't quite work. Oh, it actually worked out better. Oh, no, Stupendous in trouble.
Perfect.
Look at the damage.
Even better than trying to get a juggle. You got a full reset. I like that from Akita.
Oh, that's still going to work.
Yeah, it still works. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You thought it was your time to move? No, sir. Still had trigger on deck.
Oh, we could have had a juggle. Would have been super sick. And there it is, plus frames. Akita gets it and ties it up 1-1. So the inclusion of more anti-airs as well as more offensive play from Akita really got that going for him.
Mm-hmm. And we see kind of how much more aware he is, how much more aware Akita is against Stupendous' options of going forward, right? Not letting him get any of these jump-ins going. A lot more reliable on anti-airs, even air-to-airs, if anything. And, of course, I do like the offensive pressure that Akita has been presenting, right? With those dive kicks and starting to really lay it on Stupendous and implementing these throws at certain times. Has been getting the best of Stupendous so far.
Here's the offense you were talking about.
Checking with a low medium kick afterwards. Stupendous trying to find a way out. But again, that crouching medium punch, Akita has been so on that. Not afraid of any air approach whatsoever. That's the closest stun.
Overhead low. There's the low. Stupendous called it out. There it is again. You could see him standing up. He was looking for jump back jab. And Akita goes to match point with the full golden bar.
I like that. Big, perfect, big momentum for Akita. 2 1/3 for the bars down below. Slowly building up that critical art. Stupendous.
All right, the jacket was weighing him down. You had to take it off.
That's exactly it. No sunglasses so you can see better. Ooh. Great stoppage there from Akita again with the anti-airs. Great choices being made. V-shift out and the V-break to follow suit.
Great defensive choice from Stu. Turns it into offense. Could have had more.
Oh. Great interruption there. Down jab, reclaiming the space. EX
not gonna work, yeah.
Big trade-off for Akita, but for how long? That throw, a good amount of great damage on there as well. Ooh.
You can see Akita trying to find a moment to get V-Trigger 2 out on the second side. It's not there yet. Here it is,
This
hanging
is tough.
out.
Yes,
Just a little bit of a caught right there.
Oh, this is huge. Yeah, big confirm from the side of Stupendous, catching Akita moving backwards. The low forward just within range.
Man, he was right. The jacket really was weighing him down. It's match point now for both.
Ooh, just kind of missing the media. I think that back roll again this time. That setup for Akita. EX Hekatonkery is moving towards the corner. Big meaty stand short to get this sequence. Yes, sir. Build that bar.
Absolute domination so far for Stupendous, and Akita in big trouble.
Another throw, any sort of touch will do it. Critical art is a factor, but that's one V reversal out.
Yeah, that means no trigger, surely. And it's going to mean Akita is out as Stupendous takes it 2-1. The jacket was it. He solved his own problem. Yep, he just had the freedom to move after that, you could see. Look, the anti-air focus I really saw in game number 2. We saw a little bit of it still in game number 3, but that did not dissuade Stu from still jumping in. And a huge moment, a huge key moment in that match was when Stu jumped in with the jump roundhouse and it actually beat Dalsum down medium punch. That was... I mean, there's a specific spot where that works. It clearly does work, though. And that really began the snowball in that last round that ended up doing it for Stupendous.
And so we saw the offensive capabilities from both players, but it just seems that Seth's is just a little bit better, allowing Stupendous to eliminate Akita. Moving on into that top, 12 now. He's going to be facing off against Mortzy. That's going to be, maybe Zangief versus Fong, possibly. But we are getting into our final match for the round 1 of loser side, which should be Alex Myers and Commander Jesse.
Yeah, again, these are two players who have known each other for a long time. We both knew Jesse probably 15 years ago.
818. Valley never dies, man.
Yeah,
that's my boy.
Playing at Family Fun Arcade long time ago. And Alex Myers is from the same area and, you know, wasn't quite there in like the 1,000-year ago times, but certainly since the beginning of Street Fighter 4 has been there playing in the arcades with us too, and ever since. So they have known each other for a long time. Now Alex Myers lives up in NorCal. Jesse's still down here in SoCal, but they're going to be very familiar with each other even so.
Absolutely, yeah. Both of these players, again, we've known on a very personal level, but don't get the wrong idea. These guys are both powerhouses in their own right. Commander Jesse and Alex Myers coming out the gate in Street Fighter V, they were making waves with their characters, and it's the way they've been performing, outperforming some of the best in the world, right? One of the biggest notable wins that Jesse has had was taking down Mago way back when. I forgot which event it was exactly.
An ESL event in New York City.
I think so. Yeah, no, that's exactly what it was.
Maybe season 2, if I recall correctly, of Street Fighter V. Yeah, and he's had a lot of great performances. You know, if you talk to Jesse, he'll say that his Dalsum isn't where it needs to be. He doesn't quite believe in it as much. And so we often see that he goes with Colleen or a couple other characters up his sleeve as well. So I'm not really sure what we're going to see here. For Alex, he has kept around both Cammy and Chun.
Super consistent, too. All the time, entering as many tournaments as he possibly can with both characters evenly, I feel like, no matter if they get buffed or nerfed. Actually, on the contrary. So Cammy, you know Cammy. But Chun-Li, only when she was buffed. Only when she was buffed.
Sure.
Alex Myers saw that opportunity. He's like, you know what? This is a great secondary character.
The man's trying to win tournaments out there.
I get it. I totally get it. That was more to his credit.
Oh, for sure. No, I'm absolutely right. On a personal note, you know, Alex has had a big battle with personal injuries in terms of being able to control the hands, you know, with forearm stuff, wrist stuff. And that's been something that he's been really trying to battle for quite some time. Right. It's something that I have dealt with too, although not quite the same thing. But like the idea of being unable to play and compete in something that you love is something that he has been facing for a while now.
It's hit a ton of players as well. Some people like... what was it, Julio, right? Julio was unable to play for a while now just because of that same injury.
Yeah, exactly right. It's a really tough one. So I'm really, really happy for Alex that he's been battling back on that. You know, he's been doing a lot of physical therapy over quite a period of time now, a year or two at this point.
Yeah.
And he's been trying to seek out everything that he can do to get back to a state where he was, which was honestly one of the best players in the U.S. Before he had to take a break. He was traveling regularly, right? He went to Japan for a couple weeks.
He hung out. He stayed with Mago for about a week, practicing in his apartment.
Yeah, exactly. So he's trying to get back to that spot, and just want to say I'm really happy for him that he got into the top 16. You know, I'm not trying to play favorites here necessarily. I kind of identify with that issue of having to take away time from something that you love, and now that he's back, I think that's really, really a great story.
So again, Alex Myers and Commander Jesse, two prolific names on the West Side, even in the country for that matter. Very much so well known for their dominant performance throughout the entirety of Street Fighter V and continue to do so. It just so happens that only one of them gets a move on.
Hey. It's a tournament, man. You know, Commander Jesse's already had a tournament in which he has beaten some strong players. He took out Mario of the Mario and Luigi Brothers fame. He lost to Mira, who is made winner's side top 8. So, you know, that's if you're going to lose to anybody, you want to lose to somebody who's like, super good. Clearly that happened. And then Harut, he had to get through. Harut is a player who, if you're not familiar with, is a good player here in Southern California.
Gamer Harry.
Gamer Harry,
the old name.
And that's a match that happened at the local that we went to before the world ended. They used to play each other all the time.
Yes.
And so that's another match that he's very familiar with. Alex Myers lost to Mataoha, beat a trusty Penguin in winners, and then also in losers. So bummer on the double jeopardy, but that's how he got through.
I feel like, isn't that a Honda player, Trusty Penguin?
I'm not sure, man.
I can't remember, but I swear I've seen that name before. Either way.
I have too, but I don't know.
we do have our quotes ready for both of these players. Let's take a look at what they had to say to each other, or about each other for that matter. Alex Myers says, Jesse and I always have good matches. I'm looking forward to playing him again.
He also says, I'm still, I'll censor it for you, angry at how I got knocked into losers. I'm coming for everyone's head in this top 16 and top 8 tomorrow. Jeremy's looking in on what the exact quote was. Nobody else will know.
I still can't see it. The font's too small.
Yeah, it's pretty small there. Commander Jesse, what do we got? This matchup is interesting. Okay, I mean, I agree.
Well said, Jess. Well said, bud.
Oh, boy. He also says, I just finished Hunter x Hunter, and it was incredible.
You know, I got to pick that up soon, honestly. Everybody's been talking about it. Everybody always says that's one of the go-tos to watch. But either way, Jesse has been, you know, taking a venture, like a kind of like a little bit of a relaxing session.
Okay.
But has gone back into Street Fighter V in full force. But for the most part, you could expect top-level Dawson play, top-level Cammy play from both players, right? It's going to be very exciting to see, as it's usually a toss-up for these two players. Now that I think about it, Alex Myers, again, going in with Cammy against Dawson, that is always going to be a tough matchup for Dawson, I feel like.
Well, I mean, it has been worse in other games, I guess, is what I would say. Dawson does have better mobility and anti-airs in this game than he has before, so yeah, maybe Cammy has a little bit of an advantage, but maybe not a big blow-up. And when I see Commander Jesse go against Cammy's, I think my memory is that he does tend to go with the Dhalsim rather than Colleen.
100%.
Guess we'll see. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Alex Myers versus Commander Jesse. Again, 2 out of 3 scenario for these two. It's a heartbreaker, but it's going to be great for all of you checking it out because this is some of the best that you could expect from the West in terms of these characters. So Cammy, I don't even know how many other players opt to use Cammy in like a tournament setting in the West Coast.
Surprisingly, not many. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. I don't know.
Not me anymore.
No? You're out of it.
I went full jury.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. She's obviously very good, right? We've talked about this. Everybody's been talking about this, that there have been 2 CPT events so far, and both of them have been won by Cammy players. And Alex can continue that streak. It's definitely conceivable. So she's really good. There's no doubt about it. But every region has characters that they have more or fewer of. Maybe in SoCal, maybe in the West Coast, I should say, it's Dhalsim. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. But Cammy,
you said enough, I feel like.
I think I may have. What do we got here? Cammy and Dhalsim, right? It's characters that we were expecting. So this is the last losers round 1.
That is correct,
of the top 16. After this, we will all be in top 12. But which one of these two will make it? It's Alex Myers or Commander Jesse.
Already kind of checking the air approach is Commander Jesse 2 times over as well, just hovering a little bit above the head. Oh, V-Skill 2 is the choice for Alex Myers' Cammy, by the way.
Yeah, hoping to counter hit, get crush counter with that.
Oh, yeah. Big buffer finds the mark. That's just knowing the kind of buttons Commander Jesse wants to press. Yes, sir. That air grab, nullifying that option. You cannot escape for free.
Cracks me up. That's great. Commander Jesse trying to fight from the corner. To be fair, has the life lead.
Did you see how deep that EX dive kick was? Commander Jesse does find a way out. Resets back into the mid-screen, but here comes Alex Myers in full trigger. A huge threat if he finds any sort of dive kick opening, any sort of opening in general. It's going to be a ton of damage, but Jesse's okay with that. He's still firing away with these normals, being very active on defense.
Oh,
Not bad at all.
Oh, really? Well, okay. It ends up working out for Commander Jesse. I do feel there were some things in there that Alex could have taken a bit more advantage of.
It's just unfortunate, too, that the uppercut just barely missed the mark to continue the rest.
Unfortunate for Alex. It's back to the zoning game here for Jesse, calling out the jump with Brownhouse.
Oh, no!
What?
I like the idea of with punishing that normal. It's just at the wrong distance, you are going to get caught off guard. But nothing too major from the side of Alex Myers in terms of damage dealt. And speaking of damage dealt, here comes Cammy in the corner. Mistimes the stand short, and here comes Commander Jesse. Nope, he backs away instead.
Jesse even slight life lead, in fact. And now Alex Myers is going to look for that activation, so Jesse's not going to want to give it to him easily. We see him definitely more focused on rangy stuff.
He's caught Alex Myers dashing forward too many times now, and Myers just one touch away, hasn't even popped that trigger yet, but he's so scared to. He's looking for that.
Oh, he was probably expecting the teleport to have come earlier. Commander Jesse's game right there was really nice, especially to close things out. You're right that there was no activation out of Alex Myers, but there also wasn't like an obvious activation point.
Absolutely
There were
not.
buttons that were coming out of Commander Jesse, which could be like theoretically counter-poked, but they were all on block or on hit. None of them whiffed. So very important for Jesse to not present that option to Alex Myers. He also didn't like dive in. He wasn't trying to pressure. He wasn't trying to go in with Gale. It's very, very good choices to stay away from that danger.
We've seen what happens if Alex Myers has a normal in front of him. He will whiff punish it, no matter what character you are, right? Boom, that's exactly it. However, committing to the spiral arrow leaves you vulnerable afterwards because it's not going to connect.
Alex intent now on not giving up this pressure. He's got trigger too.
And Commander Jesse, while stuck in this corner, doesn't take a lot of damage either. Now Myers has just been backing off as soon as he loses momentum. This is so hard to chase down Dalsim at the rate that Jesse's been moving. It's so difficult to chase him down and find or make these opportunities happen on offense. Myers now very close to being knocked out.
And he may be getting a little bit ahead of himself here as the forward movement came in a spree.
Oh,
what a call by Jesse. That anti-air air-to-air from full screen. As Alex is already with trigger if he's ready to go. He has not popped it here.
Some down. You bet you're going to find an opportunity very soon to pop the trigger. But Commander Jesse, again with the air-to-air, absolutely ready for any sort of dive kicks. Clears the space a little bit with that forward throw.
So now super important for Jesse to not whip. There's the intention. Oh my God. Alex Myers is in. That's the V-shift I'm talking about later.
I like that. The
Jesse's
trigger
on
is
the other side.
slowly winding down. Myers not going to make the most of this trigger. Trying to find an opening, but he cannot with the plethora of normals that Jesse. He's wanting you to whiff punish him. He's throwing out those fierces. He's like, go ahead. Go ahead and see what happens.
Well, Alex is almost there. Now it's going to be tough.
This is a huge jump in.
Huge chance. The throw, of course, Jesse takes it, and now Alex has got to get back in.
Don't throw out a fierce because Myers will react with a critical art. He will react with a critical art, and that can kill Jesse. But he still manages to find the game-winning combo. Commander Jesse moves on over Myers 2-0.
You're so right about what Alex was looking for at the end right there. He was absolutely looking to whiff punish something. He was his range, his movement did not indicate somebody who was actively trying to get in or expecting Dawson to move forward. He was trying to get the whiff punish to get things going. So the fact that Commander Jesse then moved in all of a sudden, nobody expected that to happen. Alex Myers didn't expect that to happen. So that sudden switch from very zone-heavy play to all of a sudden dash in, slide in, into the trigger. Would have been safe on block, would have been, plus on block,
right.
Just in case. Great choice from him to really throw the wrench in, and Alex just didn't expect it.
Of course, we know that Alex Myers is more than capable to kind of spot that out and get himself ready for the whiff punch, but at that moment in time, the clarity just wasn't there enough for him to react in time. So it was, again, a great choice for Commander Jesse at that time, moving him into the second round, going up against Rambro.
That's right, yeah. So, again, shout-outs to Alex, who's going to go down here in 13th place. Not quite into the top 12. But again, I just want to say super cool that he has battled back. I really look forward to seeing more from him as this year goes on in future years too. But that's it for the first round of losers side. So Luigi, Corey Bell, Stupendous, and Alex Myers all end up outside of the top 12. They end up again in 13th place.
And again, in a similar fashion as we saw throughout the entirety of this top 16, 2-0. The only match we've seen that's gone back and forth has been Akita and Stupendous.
That's wild.
Hey,
the matches, and in fact, Brian even talked about it when we had the pre-show. Typically on the West Coast, it's a little tough to call out who's going to win some of these matches. They're often very close. Wednesday Night Fights is a real thrill. A lot of fun matches on there. The other tournaments that we have here on the West Coast as well. So I am a bit surprised to see that there are so many 2-0s, but it happens sometimes.
I mean, we might see even more of it into round 2. Who
Maybe.
knows?
I'm looking for the close stuff, I hope, but I guess we'll see.
I do want to see a lot more Street Fighter V coming out through this. But it's going to be Filipino Man versus Mataoha coming up into it. It's going to be Rose versus Balrog, a match that I have not done enough homework on. I've only seen both of these players play individually. I've seen a handful of ranked Filipino Man matches.
Right.
But I haven't seen these two face off against each other with this set.
No.
Not one time.
Yeah, well, I mean, Rose just came out not long ago. She's around for a month or less than a month at this point, so that's okay. I'm going to give you a pass because I have the same issue.
Let's go. All right, so all jokes aside, Filipino Man, Mataoha, exactly what you could expect. Here we go right into it. I lied to you all. It's Chun-Li.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay.
At least the Rose stage was picked. And here we go, a matchup the Filipino Man opts to go for. I honestly thought he was going to go Rose through and through because I've seen him play against that match a little bit. But again, Chun-Li is his tried and true when it comes to the Balrog matchup.
Yeah, I mean, she's got ability to do pretty
do
good job
just that.
Right. You just take up a big range here. She's got the ability to punish some stuff. Hey, just on cue. Thank you very much for the exhibition.
It's a very tough situation now for Filipino Man. Again, you were talking about some of those punishes that Chun-Li can do with punish for sure, but without that meter, it's kind of tough. Did not check the overhead, didn't see it coming. This should be more than enough if you spend it. When you're in Italy, you got to spend that cash. You're on vacation.
Yeah, I like that a lot from Mataoha. He really got the corner fast and never let go, but it wasn't overly strong pressure. He wasn't overcommitting. It was at this range right here where he can stab in with a dash punch now and then.
Ooh, even further out. Taking that risk with an even bigger dash punch. But again, the Filipino Man special, being annoying with the normals, but slight error.
Yeah, big bummer.
Oh, significant error, not checking the overhead as well.
Mataoha getting close. Okay, Filipino Man, a little bit of damage here and there. He can get a punish and get things started in the dash. And I love Mataoha just getting out of there.
Ooh,
right. Once he got back and was away, the dash punch has been, as it is for Boxer, the main way of getting back in and of stabbing in and occasionally doing some damage. If not, you're fine, right? Worst case, you're -4. Chun-Li has a better punish than many others do, but EX is not going to be an issue, right? That's safe, it's plus. You can get damage and get the round. So I really like the V-shift there. It's not something that we've seen a ton of tonight, but you can see it's a really, really important thing in Street Fighter V right now.
I think what's also important is, granted that Mataoha gets punished from the dash punch, the fact of the matter is Filipino Man won't have that meter carrying over if he gets knocked down, right? That threat of EX spinning bird kick is no longer to be present, allowing Mataoha to continue that pressure in the corner without fear of any sort of wake-up. Other than maybe like a V-shift, but in the corner, that's not the best place to put it.
So, I feel like Filipino Man's never been out of the corner. He's been underneath this overhang the entire match. He's been on this side of the dock the whole time.
That's cool with me, man. Ooh. Okay. And again, getting rid of that meter. I think that's exactly what Mataoha wants. He's totally fine with that. Yes, sir. Now back in this corner. Filipino Man has not found a way out. Again, spending it after that punish. It's appropriate. I mean, I get it, but...
Well, I feel like Mataoha is not... Oh, wow.
So smart for Mataoha to delay that V reversal in anticipation of the V trigger.
Taking it slowly. Ooh, maybe not so slowly. Trying for the overhead, and Filipino Man, okay, didn't seal the deal on the first chance, but ends up getting it.
And I like the idea. Mataoha got away with it about, 3 times with the overhead, the V-skill spin into the overhead, but Filipino Man 100% on it this time.
Wow, this is what this side of the dock looks like. Filipino Man's here for the first time.
I didn't even know it exists. Ooh. Go with punish from the side of Filipino Man, catches the low. EX legs.
Rangy from Mataoha, and takes the opportunity to go all the way back to this side.
Reset, yes sir. The big tech from Filipino Man, not flinching one bit, just waiting for his opportunity to get those lights in, and now playing the life lead game as he has to. Mataoha's trying to find a way to sneak in.
It's not quite enough. Mataoha still there. No whiff punish, and Filipino Man does not want to allow the plus frames. First jump, I think, in the whole set. For Filipino Man. Now Mataoha's here.
Oh,
jump
no,
again. No
anti-air.
anti-air. So rare from Filipino Man. There it is. Good call. Filipino Man was expecting at that time. Mataoha on the ground has been his biggest way in. We've seen dash punches a lot, of course. But in that end of that round situation, and not just in this round too, we saw him jump in quite a few times.
Very impressive play from Filipino Man, getting it all back in that second game. Again, we haven't seen an EX spinning bird kick at all from him, so that's great patience. That's one thing. And also changing it up with the anti-airs, or at least acknowledging that Mataoha is willing to jump, right? He's gotten away with so many, and now we finally see Filipino Man reacting accordingly.
A little bit of forward movement even from Filipino Man, something we haven't seen too much of. Yeah, again, forward movement from him. And with punishing too, is he's moving in and out of a great range right now where Mataoha is having a tough time.
And that's what I like to see. Deterring that threat of the V-skill after that EX dash punch, not letting Mataoha get a free mix-up. Oh!
Trigger's ready. Filipino Man immediately backed off. As soon as that trigger became a possibility. Okay.
Ooh, and I like that conversion too. Just getting a little bit of stray hits too. But here comes Mataoha. The reset. Baiting out the throw. That's exactly the option he went for last time.
A little bit too far, but at least for Filipino Man, the orange bar's down. Yeah, it's not going to be an issue now. Now it's just about who wins the round.
Ooh, yeah, the reversal's out. But still stuck in this corner. Mataoha doing a great job. EX Fireball to get some space. And the nice use of the walk speed in and out of that range to get the throw. Filipino Man now looking at set point.
Interesting for Filipino Man to challenge right there. Yeah, he's very buttonsy after those dash punches, regular and EX both. Ooh. What a jump timing, however, Mataoha. Okay, Filipino Man's ready this time. First one blocked.
Now I'm waiting for Mataoha to go for the low after that, but we'll see if it ever happens. Filipino Man with a huge read on the dash punch with that neutral jump, baiting it out precisely as planned.
Filipino Man backs off right away. Coming in again with the occasional stab forward. It's not exclusively walking away. Yes. Oh!
What? What?
The bravery, the guts of Filipino Man to end it with forward movement into
he was
instant
in range?
Overhead. I mean, he was at like maximum range for that thing.
That wasn't.
That was wild.
What? I felt like that was in a whiff.
Spot.
Is it because the hitbox or the hurtbox was extended, crouching down? I feel like...
I mean, that is part of it. You get a little bit wider, but even still, to know where the opponent was on screen and to be so sure about it, if that had been a whiff, that could have been real bad news for Filipino
yeah,
Man.
without a doubt. That would have been a huge change. I think that would have like mentally stacked on Filipino Man, and Mataoha would have potentially taken him out.
Wow, that was wild. What a choice for Filipino Man to end it, but indeed it ends it. So Filipino Man qualifies for top 8. You can check it out for yourself. You don't have to take it from me. It's top 8 Filipino Man tomorrow. Mataoha got into top 16 on winner's side and had the unfortunate path of then going 0-2. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. However, we did not see a 2-0. How about that?
I'm great. I'm extremely grateful for that. That's cool. But that's cool with me, man.
Look, it was a really good match. In that first game, I felt that Mataoha just had total control. He got into the corner very quickly both rounds. He was pressuring well. He was, occasionally getting punished on dash punches. But other than that, it almost seemed like he didn't care about getting the crouching short into EX.
It was so minimal.
Legs.
That damage wasn't even a big threat for Mataoha.
So to go from that to then Filipino Man making these big calls of like neutral jump roundhouse at precise dash punch timings and getting big combos into the corner, into pressure, that's a big swing. It's a big swing for Filipino Man, and he made the adaptations he needed to move on.
That minimal adaptation, he's going to be carrying that momentum going forward into tomorrow, hopefully. But we still have so many more matches to call. JB versus Samurai, an SFL Classic. That's going to be happening shortly after this break. You guys do not want to miss it. When we return, we are continuing round 2 here on the loser side. Stay tuned. Only a few remain here in round 2 of the loser side for the North American qualifiers. In the West, Vicious here back at it again with Ultra David. You just experienced Filipino Man going up against Mataoha. Filipino Man taking that W 2-1. We are moving on now to a big one, JB versus Samurai.
Yeah, this is a match that we've seen many times. Street Fighter League, we've seen it in Wednesday Night Fights, we've seen it in other events. Very, very cool to see that here in the top 12, we're going to see it again. Winner will play Filipino Man tomorrow, but first they got to get through. These two players, I feel like, credibly, this could have been winners finals. This could have been grand finals. Like, these are two of the best that we have here on this side of things, but they meet in losers side. What are you looking for?
You know, I'm actually looking forward to seeing this run back because the last time they played off each other in, I believe it was like Street Fighter League, I think he was forced to play Ryu. I think Samurai was forced to play Ryu.
And that was pre Ryu's awakening.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I wonder. I mean, like, I just kind of wonder whether or not he'll actually bring it out for someone like JB. Maybe not. Yeah. But I mean, it'd be cool to see. That's what I'm actually looking forward to. But all jokes aside, again, this is a matchup that's completely unpredictable. They've gone back and forth so many times.
Yeah.
But JB, again, absolutely no slouch, one of the best Rashids in the world. Samurai, also pretty much up there in terms of his Akuma play. It's pretty much a coin toss. I don't even know. We'd have to just really call the match as it goes, David.
It's going to be a lot of fun for sure. These are, again, two of the best that we have. And to meet in loser's side, you know, seeing the brackets in advance, I don't know if that's what I would have predicted, but again, here they are. They've gotten here in part. JB lost to Mortzy. That's who sent him to loser's side. Mortzy.
Yeah? All right.
That's what it said.
That's great. That's cool.
Yeah. And
that's super cool.
Samurai, of course, we saw earlier lose to Dankadillas. That's how he's down here. So, characters that we expect? Dang, the look that you gave me when I said that word.
That was wild. I did not expect that. I always forget that JB was starting off into the loser side from top 16.
Yeah,
Again, both of these players prolific in the world of Street Fighter V, right? Seeing that name down below is very interesting. Here we are. Big conversion off of that crouching heavy punch. A lot of pressure coming from the side of JB, mostly hovering around the heavy punch button. Samurai has not been able to at least counter just yet. Now stuck in this corner, exactly what Rashids do, right? Pushing him to the corner, no throw.
Boy, what a strong series of control this is from JB.
I think we've hit double digits in the amount of heavy punches pressed.
All right, well,
Side
Samurai,
switch.
again, always willing to take the risk.
I'm sorry.
Interesting. But he finally got it with the grab. Oh, boy. Barely not there.
Yeah. Oh, big whiff punch from the side of Samurai. The last we'll see of that trigger. Ooh. You know, the last we'll see of Rashid as well. Just enough damage for that throw. Samurai putting out that threat. JB was not ready for it.
You know, they played in the last CPT NA West #2, and Samurai won it 3-1. He's starting it off looking good. Got the corner just like that. Almost as fast as JB had it last time. Here's JB, though, ready.
I like that. Oh, yeah. Big throw bait from the side of JB. Finds the target again. Forward throw. Oh, not.
Wow. And stun. And by the way, there's going to be super on this. Yes, and he does bring it out.
I like that choice. I absolutely like that choice.
You would do it for sure.
You would have to. You see the amount of life Samurai had left, right? It was like one touch or so from like a heavier button, even a throw, whatever. But the fact that triggers still remained on the side of Akuma with 2 and some odd bars, right? That could have been any, like 2 conversions into a critical art, you're dead. So of course you're going to spend it.
It's a slow walk for JB as he slowly pushes Samurai, or intends to push Samurai into the corner. Samurai's movement's always a little bit hard to predict.
But I will say JB has done a great job of throwing out those normals at a safe distance, just like that. Yeah, the crouching heavy punch just a little bit in Samurai's face, not allowing him to rebuttal with any sort of whiff punishes, forcing him to spin that meter, trying to find an opening. But here comes the lockdown from Rashid. Ooh, what an interrupt. A significant one.
And just like that, Samurai's way out of the corner. He's got the life lead now. He's very far away from the corner. Oh, backs off. And in fact, JB's going to find the moment for himself. He's got corner pressure. He's got the trigger going. Oh, he's a threat. Into the corner himself, though.
Man.
Samurai busts out. He's got his own trigger if he wants to activate, of course.
He was willing to sacrifice any sort of opening for that positioning.
Yeah,
And
well, we
Samurai
saw
made the
JB
most
try
of
that
it.
before, right? He's gone to the corner before, and it worked this time. No, what a wake-up from Samurai, expecting the walk backwards.
That is the classic. Low forward to check, whilst in V-trigger, but no longer a threat. One touch for Samurai. JB does have a little bit more to work with. Does have V-trigger too.
Yeah, that's why Samurai was walking up and blocking, expecting the roll. And then the trade with Samurai brings out Dragon Punch. He's never in his life been afraid to bring out a Dragon Punch in a moment like that, even in a game where there's no invincibility on hits.
He's clutched that out. He's clutched out so many rounds with that exact kind of sequence. Like, if there's like a moment to spare with any sort of frame traps, he's going to be mashing DP. Without a doubt. He's going to be mashing DP. He's been called out on it by numerous players. But is that going to stop him? No, as long as it produces results, right?
No, he has a really intentional style. He makes choices that are hard to predict, but the thing is that he thinks about them in advance. They may come across as being random, but he has a justification for this stuff.
With Samurai, it's never random.
No,
That's how I feel.
Totally.
It's never random. Ooh. Another significant jab. And again, a very similar sequence as what we saw in that third round between these two, finding his way, finding the gap, threading the needle with these normal stand jab being a really big catalyst to open up for the heavy punch. And now it's all Samurai making quick work. Uppercut, spend that cash, get the stun, build some meter as well. Ooh, I'm liking this momentum from Samurai.
And he's been caught with his back in the corner in both of the last two games, and each time he's been battling back. This is like the first time he's done round start forward movement. It's very often been him fighting from a defensive position.
Ooh. Oh, he got caught moving, but the whirlwind shot still keeping him grounded. By the way, JB catches the crush counter in the corner. Not a big deal, not a huge deal. Decent amount of damage nonetheless.
It's not quite enough. Really? Oh, wow.
There's the side switch we were looking for off that back heavy punch, and now forward throw into the corner. JB is in a lot of trouble. Does have the trigger ready. Oh my God! The cross cut. Dragon punch still finds the mark. I was so scared, David.
JP, funky situation, but he's right up close, and he can definitely take it.
He does it again! He does it again! He checks with the low forward. As JB was walking back, you cannot escape from death from there. That was pretty wild.
Those end-of-game situations twice. That one calling out the backwards movement with his low check like you described. And at the end of the first game when he did the 3-frame DP, which is a better choice in that instance than doing the 3-frame jab, which gets blown up on crush counter with mediums, of course. Like those two choices at the end, again, like you look at it and if this was somebody you didn't know, you'd be like, wow, that was quite a wild decision. But when it comes to Samurai, those are things that he's thought about in advance and has game plan for. And he takes it on the strength of it, in significant part, I would say, on reads like that. Because in a couple of those rounds, he was, again, caught with his back to the corner and had to fight out. And in that last round, the reason that he got out again was, right, EXDP. He did a back throw at one point to regain corner control. So it was him fighting from a defensive spot and then turning it into really good offense and into damage, right? These situations where JB's pressuring, the DP comes out, or the down medium kick comes out instead. One of those two. And for Samurai, I'm always super impressed to see his decision-making. It's one of the most unique and most interesting in the scene.
I mean, you can't just sit there. I mean, JB's thinking to himself, there's so many defensive options that Samurai can go for because he's completely random, quote-unquote. But he's not. He's really not. There's so much intent behind
He's a genius player.
It covers so many options, right? If you sit there, you're in threat of the throw, the back throw. If you walk back, you're in threat of the low-medium kick, right? It's that rock, paper, scissors scenario. JB had to just pick one. And unfortunately, he gets blown up by it because Samurai, again, being 2 steps ahead, it's just a matter of getting that solid read. To be honest, Samurai is moving forward, going to be facing off against Filipino Man tomorrow. It's going to be, what, Rose versus Akuma, maybe? That would be sick. But instead, we're still going to get Mortzy and Stupendous, which is just as sick because we have Fong back in the building.
Mortzy and Stupendous, yeah, it's going to be a fun one, I would think. Yeah, you brought this up earlier. Maybe expect Zangief here.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. It depends on kind of like the style and preference of a Fang player. I know that many Fangs in the past have not liked the Geef matchup, or at least have thought that it's evenish. I've talked with different Fangs about it, kind of different decisions on that. So that wouldn't surprise me to see that out of Stupendous. It's a match where Fang yes, like he has these. You look at him and you're like, oh, he's a zoner, but like in practice, that's not really how it often works out. And so for Geef to have things like flex, for him to have lariat, for him to have EXDP, stuff like that, things that will trade like medium punch over cloud, stuff like that can be really important for him. Let's see what we got. I don't know that it's going to be Geef. It is going to be Geef after all.
Geef.
So loser's side, winner of this will get into top 8 tomorrow. We got Mortzy from Vancouver, Canada, and we have Stupendous in Southern California. Yeah, flex, huge part of this. As you could see, a lot of this is at this range about where medium punch, down forward fierce are important tools.
That was a huge chunk of life off of that soul anti-air from Mortzy too, letting that poison stack up, along with the great life that Stupendous accumulated using that V-skill shift, or flex.
Ooh, great whiff punish on Mortzy's side, and he takes the opportunity for a little bit of pressure, but oh!
That was heavy.
And on the
run away from the
character.
bear! Oh boy.
Yep. It's V-Trigger 1, so now he has the projectile, which is real in V-Trigger 1.
Oh, I'm liking this. I'm liking this from Morty a lot. Yeah, keep it going.
Yep,
keep it going.
Now. That is a nice thing for him, no doubt about it. He does get to be more of a zoner here. However, Stupendous, if he gets like a whiff punish into stand pierce or something, into trigger, it's just a couple of mix-ups away. Very doable for him still.
2.5 mix-ups, probably. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's something like that, but it's very doable. And Mortzy... Okay, this is plus frames Geef. Yes! Number one. Mortzy. Oh my God! I
love that option. You cannot forget about that option. Jumping medium kick from the side of Fong, even catching crouchers because of how far it extends. You cannot stop that man from doing that.
Uh-oh. Maybe a misconfirm. Maybe he thought that was still armor.
And what a choice to V-shift out of there. I do like that option from Mortzy. Out of there! We'll take that sweep.
Oh, roundhouse whiff, but it works out for Mortzy.
Oh, don't meet him in the skies. Force Dynamite in threat of the SPD. Mortzy's keeping his ground. I like the anti-air choice there. Trigger activation plus frames after that. Stupendous just backing away, trying to nullify any sort of pressure. But no, I was going to say the fireball's just whiffing barely overhead.
Here's Mortzy. Uh-oh, just activated right there. And that will be it without the need to spend any bar. A very interesting back and forth match between these two. Constant battle of whether to try to zone or go in. Poison's such an important part of this matchup too.
Oh. Yeah, you're not kidding. That's taking a significant amount of damage. But speaking of big SPD from the side of Stupendous, back throw now readjusting for that positioning. The V-skill out. Ooh, yes, I like that connection there from Mortzy. Oh, no.
You wanted the plus frames, but nope. And then the EX gets blown up.
The spine buster.
Nice. Mortzy finds the moment. He's going to have to rely a bit on poison here. Getting rid of the V-trigger very quickly with a big chance to get another one. Again, V-skill is a big deal for him in this matchup. He can definitely credibly get 2 in a round.
I like him just laying it down. Nishikyu back to back to back. Ooh. That was pretty far for that dash punch to connect.
He went in. The bravery. Is it going to work? It is. Oh, my God. By a pixel, the poison again came to his rescue. Game number 1 to Mortzy.
I'm liking this from Mortzy. I like the aggression that he does present, and I also like his keep-away game. He's not overcommitting to anything other than dwindling down some of that poison damage, throwing out the Nishikyu as much as possible. And, of course, that near max distance dash punch to get a punish on Zangief as he moving forward or committing to a normal, that was key. That was pretty great from Mortzy. Oh. 2 grabs just whipping in front of each other. Oh, but not this one. Ugh.
This is going to be light SPD. No pressure out of this. Mortzy just way out of dodge. Hanging out. Oh, no!
This is huge.
However, the mix-ups are not actually that important for Stupendous. I mean,
he caught the V-break. He caught the V-break with the V-skill. I'm liking this from Stupendous.
Let's talk about the defensive reads on Mortzy's side. There have been a lot of these. There have been SPDs, but yet Mortzy's up 1 game. Nope, that's going to be no more pressure. Mortzy, hard to make a comeback on this, but don't count him out quite yet.
And this is fine for Stupendous. He gets to dictate the pace at his own leisure with the amount of life he has left. He's just going to be chilling.
Yeah, just threaded the needle. That's fine. And even something like a down jab would have been enough. Whatever.
But the fact that he went to the skies and actually made his way around the Nishikyu, that was Pretty slick.
By the way, this color is bugging me out a little bit because it's hard for me to tell when Geef is poisoned or not. I don't know if that's an issue with me or what, but...
That's fair.
Is he purple right now? Yes, I can see. I mean, I know he is because I can see the life bar, but boy.
Violet, you're turning violet, Violet. Oh, the big blueberry's coming for you. And a squish. EXSPD gets an Oki situation after that. V-shift. Again, Mortzy finding a lot of success with it, but it leaves him without the trigger.
Yeah, sending Stupendous into the corner. That squeezing room is where he's stuck. And now Mortzy's backing off again, trying to apply that poison even more.
Oh.
It's slow. It's Mortzy not wanting to take a risk.
Sheesh.
Stupendous absolutely needs to move forward.
I like that air-to-air. Mortzy showing off the other options. What?
Regular grab. Looking for activation point. Oh boy, Mortzy holding up for dear life. You can see it.
EX Borscht Dynamite. What's going to happen here?
It's so safe. The safety was all Stupendous was thinking about. He didn't want to get V-shifted and killed. And instead, Stupendous loses the round. It's match point, Mortzy.
Can we talk about Mortzy's decision to jump at that second? Come on, man. That was such a solid read.
His defense has honestly been amazing.
Oh. Can't stop this man from SPDing you, though. Oh, he still found the mark with that charged heavy punch. On the other side, Mortzy now on the offensive end. Wee. Letting the fireballs rock. I like that. The poison balls, excuse me.
V-Trigger 1's ready. And that's what Stupendous is looking for.
Oh, this is huge. Mortzy is now getting closer and closer to eliminating Stupendous. Does have trigger on deck, but the poison's doing so much work. Reapply it. There's the V-skill. Looking to do so right now. This is going to be significant. Now dwindling down to a single touch. With all that chip damage, all the poison stacking up, Stupendous is now on the ropes.
Oh, God. No, he didn't bring out the spin, and it's Mortzy who takes it. 2-0. His defense was amazing. There were so many situations where Stupendous had command grab. He had EX SPD, I don't know, 5 times, like a bunch. And heavy SPD as well. Situations where Geef can be a terror. And Mortzy jumped out, he EX dashed out, he V-shifted out, he blocked.
He blocked a good amount of the mix-ups, too.
He did.
He sat there and took the lights. He's like, all right, I'm cool with this. Other times, again, he resorted to using that V-shift. And again, he's just made all the right defensive reads against Stupendous.
Huge. Yeah, it's if you're Geef, you can't say as Geef that you didn't get the chance. And that's really what Geef is going for a lot of the time. Geef is going for the chance. You get a few opportunities, you got to make the most of them. If you're not, you're not going to win. It's very tough to win if you're not actually making it count in those knockdown situations. And you know that Stupendous is super, super good at that, right? He's got an amazing Geef. His offense is typically very, very strong. So for Mortzy to make those defensive calls that he made and be as consistently correct as he was is tough to do, and all the more impressive for having done it.
Yeah, especially against someone like Stupendous. So again, he's making it into top 8 from the loser side, eliminating Stupendous. Now awaits his fate between Commander Jesse and Rambro.
Ooh, Rambro and Jesse. Falk versus Dalsum. A match that in previous seasons, Dalsums would have skated through. Didn't even need to have their eyes open. Skated through. It was a real tough match, honestly, for Falk. Dalsum just has really, really good control, or had really, really good control. She has a little bit more to say in the matchup now, I would say, in this season than in previous, maybe the last 2 seasons. She's had more to say in it for sure. But still, Dalsum just has a really good range control, right? He's outranging her. He has the ability to float over at a certain spot. He's not as worried about the low shot as many other characters are, for example. Yeah. So he's kind of floating in there. He's got good anti-airs, and she's got this kind of high floaty jump. So there's a lot of things that are in his favor in the matchup. But now that she snowballs a little bit better, now that she's got a few more options in range, it's not going to be as much of a blow-up as before, although I would think, honestly, still that it's probably in Dalsum's favor.
Oh, without a doubt. You still have to get past phase 1, which is the start of the round, right? You're going to have Dalsum way back here, normals that extend 3/4 of the screen. You have to get past that first, right? So that's going to be the biggest problem. I want to see how Rambro is going to play out the neutral against Commander Jesse just right off the bat. We've seen the kind of offensive capabilities that Falk can have up close, especially in the hands of Rambro, but at the same time, it's like he has to get past the first part of the stage first. Like, we have to see how he plays around Dalsum's normals. What is he going to do to combat it, with punish it, if anything? I want to see what's going to happen between these two, and it's going to happen very shortly. all the cycle shots in the world is still not going to deter Jesse from moving forward. That's something we could possibly expect from Rambro, but for the most part, it's going to be very active defense with those normals from Jesse. Very excited to see it as we are closing out the second round of losers here in the Capcom Pro Tour. This is the final match to see who will make it into that last slot of top 8.
I'm expecting it to be Dawson versus Falk, so we're waiting for the players to load in. You know, Rambro, in the match that he had before versus Nephew, certainly had a great couple of offensive series. We saw defensive awareness from him to get out of situations. It just wasn't quite enough. Nephew's so strong. He's got such a strong grasp on his character. But we know that that's possible for him. We've definitely seen it from him. Just a question of whether he can get it going, as you said. Can he make it past that first little bit? All right, it's the last match of the night. We got Rambro with the Falk and Jesse floating right over, just as we were saying, with Dawson.
These matches have been going by so quickly. I still can't believe you said that. This is the last match of the night, David? You gotta be kidding me.
It has been fast. We've been talking about how many O2s there are.
Oh, and you were talking about these shots being a burden. You know, we didn't really get to highlight this too much, right? We're talking about how Jesse's going to have a good time, just kind of like hovering over it, floating. But Rambro has found a lot of these shots, finding the mark. But Commander Jesse, ooh, okay. I like that response past the dive kick.
EX Flame, very interesting.
Man, Rambro has the bandana on, does have infinite ammo, has just been letting it rip for majority of the round.
We got Jesse in for pressure, or maybe, and chooses not to get in there instead. I can't believe the anti-air was so good. And now hoping to see he was Falk Cook, but she's out of there. Jesse still just hanging out, being patient, waiting for the low shot. Yep, that's exactly what he was expecting.
And this is totally fine for Commander Jesse, but he commits to the EX Yoga Fire.
Big one, and the activation point comes. Overhead, it's a throw bait. And Rambro parties in the end of that round. As Jesse had controlled quite a bit of it, although, like I said, Falk does definitely have more to say in this matchup than before.
Commander Jesse committing to that EX Yoga Fire to close the game out was all Rambro needed. He sought it out. He's like, you know what? This is my time to jump in. Pinpoint accuracy, finding that mark. Oh, boy. Does get the knockdown. He just backs away, trying to bait some sort of movement from Rambro, but he was also expecting that, just waiting it out on wake up. Ooh.
Oh. Slide away. It's Jesse now tries for pressure anyway. Something we didn't see too much from him in round number 1.
Jesse in a very similar position as the previous round with a significant life lead, but here comes Rambro. Uh-oh. I like that. I like that option a lot. Neutral jumping out of the way, getting the shot in also.
Rambro spent a lot of this time with V-skill, with V-trigger ready to go, I should say. Oh, huge opportunity. Huge. The jumps have been big.
Don't delay tech.
At least on the block for the V-reversal. Yeah, okay, this time connects. So Jesse's away. That trigger's almost gone. And Rambro cannot get touched. Ooh. Overhead low.
Oh,
slow.
The low. Oh, that's huge. I'm not sure what Rambro might have been going for. Might have been like a slight error, looking for some sort of punish, but I don't think there was any opportunities for him to actually do that. All tied up in the first game, Commander Jesse. Okay with just dodging these fireballs. Totally fine. Does get the exchange with his Yoga Fire of his own. Ooh.
Big risk. Oh, he was going for the big combo. Would have been pretty sick. That's a lot of damage that Sim can do in that situation.
Just a little bit too far out with that pushback. Oh, yes. I like that. Coming from Commander Jesse, using that V-shift, not relying on that V-trigger activation.
No, he has been spending it liberally.
Oh.
Chooses pressure. Chooses defense. Okay, he's really mixing it up, and Rambro now needs to make his way in.
Notice how Rambro has not charged up for shot. He's looking to go forward. He's not playing this long-range game anymore. Now he's charging it up.
Yeah, he's got it there, but Jesse is doing such a good job at navigating these shots on the other side, floating over those, for the most part anyway.
Oh.
This is an opportunity here for Rambro. Yes, grab. Maybe Jesse was waiting to see something in a V-reversal. There it is. That's what he was looking for.
Uh-oh, this is dangerous. One wrong guess, and that could spell death. Commander Jesse forcing Rambro in that awkward situation as the fire got closer, getting the first game.
Well, I mean, the matches you could see, like Dalsum is hanging out a lot on the other side. He's floating over stuff. He's able to still have an air-to-air threat from really far away against that floaty Falk jump. You can definitely see that there's strengths for him. That's it. You know, the fast low shot, a little bit better range on the stand shot. Like, there's definitely stuff that she can do. The activation points are a little bit better.
Sure.
And Rambro's doing a great job at a lot of these ranges. Yeah, waiting there to see that the Dalsum had landed first, right?
Yeah, getting rid of the fireball threat as well. I'm liking this, finding his shots now, slowly whittling down Jesse's health. But that's okay with him. Jesse's still trying to play this long-range game. And look at all that. There was so much gray line adding up. Oh, yeah. Big throw bait from the side of Jesse. Rambro opting to use that V-reversal. I don't blame you with how plus that Gale can be.
Jesse chooses to get away. Although it's still at this cage. Oh, I like the dash. The attempt, at least. Woo!
Oh, on the same side. That was both of them were counter hits. Trying to chase down that movement from Commander Jesse. Rambro finally finds the mark, but does not finish the combo. You see the desperation from Jesse in that corner. You see he opted to go for the slide in the V-trigger. Rambro 2 steps ahead again with that V-trigger 2.
Really making great usage of V-trigger 2. And for him to start at this range so many times, so much of this match has been fought at this spot right here. For him to consistently get in anyway has been really impressive.
Oh no, without a doubt. That's one of the biggest challenges of facing against Dalsum. Most people hate this matchup because of that fact alone.
Whew. And didn't even want to take a risk on whether there was going to be Wake Up EX. That's very funny from Jesse. Just safety first.
Oh!
Yo, let's go.
Oh!
Okay, yep. The counter hit out of float means that he just drops for a juggle. It was cool, though.
Looking at just let it rip, sniping away at Dalsum's legs. Do not move forward. Oh no! Floats right in time to catch the joust. The lunge.
Back to zoning is Commander Jesse. Knowing he only needs... Oh, one more now. And he's playing safety first. No risk right now on the Dalsum. Yes, excellent stuff from Commander Jesse, who goes up to match point.
Just a chance of throwing that medium punch. Happens to catch the mark. Very little risk behind it from Jesse. But finds his way in with the teleport, catching the shot. What's the setup? Okay, he just goes back and plays it safe, as he's been doing throughout the entirety of this match.
And Rambro knew it. Rambro's defense was just looking to block regular. He knew.
Now I wonder if that situation arises again. Will Commander Jesse step on the gas and get the mix-up going?
It's been very, again, safety first stuff from Commander Jesse. He's not really taking risks too many times. Choosing to back off in many cases as well. Very even, though, as Jesse does have the corner control.
Oh,
just pretty close in life. And we've seen Rambro has been able to get things going. Has started off with V-Trigger 2 a couple times in important ways.
Ooh, stuck in this corner yet again. Rambro in a very interesting predicament. That's the perfect time to let on the gas. Commander Jesse now backing away. He gets his hits, moves on.
Oh no! I'm not sure what the expectation was, but Rambro misplaced the V-trigger, and that's going to be that for Rambro. And for the night for us. Rambro's match, it's a tough draw, as you could see. He did a good bunch of work with it, but at the end, yeah, maybe the intention was whiff punish into something. I'm not really sure, but
possibly.
It didn't work out for him. I love the Falk. I'd love to see more of it. But that's it for now for Rambro as Jesse moves on in loser side. So we got the top 8. The top 8 is all ready to go, all ironed out for you. We got the winner's side early on tonight. We now have the losers too.
It's kind of tough seeing Rambro fall short in the manner that he did. It's just, again, luck of the draw. I feel like that matchup is just so difficult for him to navigate around. But we do have Commander Jesse going up against Mortzy, as you see there. Those are our final 2 players into the top 8. Up above, there you go. You see Filipino Man going up against Samurai. Very exciting to see. And, of course, we have the winner's side as well. Nephew going up against Chris CCH, as well as Dankadillas going up against Mira, as we see that change over. Boom! Those are who you can expect for our top 8 tomorrow on Mother's Day.
That's true. That's true. It's a big day for a lot of people. And for these 8, it will be particularly big. I'm very, very interested in how this top 8's going to go. We prefaced this before, but we're both from the West Coast. It's been a blast to be able to commentate the players who are in our region, and for this just to have been the top 16 and as much good play as we saw with as many characters as we saw was very cool. Now, there were a bunch of 0 and 2s, and that's just not something that I expected. But even still, there was a lot of fun play, a lot of fun decisions to be made within that set. As far as the top 8 goes, Nephew versus Chris CCH. What do you think about that?
They've had a lot amount of games against each other. Sakura versus Colleen. I like Chris CCH and what he presents on offense. I do know that Nephew is more than capable to take on that offense. It's, again, Nephew is definitely one of the favorites here, but no doubt in my mind, Chris is going to present quite the challenge. Dankadillas versus Mira, however, that is a WNF classic as well. Very excited to see that. Dalsim versus Laura. I know how frustrated Dankadillas can get. Both Eli and Mira have given him the work when it comes to that matchup. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's a volatile matchup, and at the extreme height of Laura play, where, Mira is one of those, it can be tough. It definitely can be tough. However, Dankadillas is really, really good. He's got an unusual style of Dalsim. He's very focused on offense, as we even saw earlier tonight. Again, while with also having the defensive side. So, yeah, a very interesting matchup. Back and forth. Luckily, it's going to be tomorrow. When it's top 8, we get to see a few more games from the players. As far as Equinox, Filipino Man, and Samurai.
That's got to be Rose versus Akuma, right? That has to be.
Sure. I think that would be what I'd expect. Could be Chun, I guess we'll see.
No,
you're... Okay, we're going to go for Rose.
Let's go for it.
We're going to go for Rose. Filipino Man and Samurai. So these players as well have quite a bit of history going back many years. We reference Filipino Man's history. If you're somebody who's come in SF5 times, you may be familiar with him. But back in SF4, he was extremely strong. Again, a couple of really deep runs at EVO. And Samurai and he, during that period of time, had a bunch of back and forths. Really, really cool to watch. Awesome to see them here in Street Fighter V.
And, of course, we're rounding it out in the bottom there. Mortzy versus Commander Jesse. Both players picking zoning characters, quote-unquote.
That's what they say.
Quote-unquote. But we've seen both of these players put under pressure when it comes to defense, and we've seen the kind of offense they both present, right? So it's going to be, again, another volatile matchup between Fong and Dalsim. As weird as that sounds coming from me, right? Again, Fong versus Dalsim, I feel like it's going to be very interesting to see who's going to close the gap against who first.
It's a fun matchup. Yeah. It's a very movement-heavy matchup. Both characters have, very funky movement options. They both have these kind of rangy tools, but they're both also really setting things up close. So in many ways, it's about who gets the party started first. But it's really fun, interesting matchup of a lot of movement.
So in the meantime, you do have what to expect for the top 8. We are going to recap the top 16 in just a little bit. After this break, we're going to fill you in on what you can expect for tomorrow's showdown here in the Capcom Pro Tour. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more.
You shouldn't only admire my work, but also concentrate a little more on your lessons, Mana.
Let the spirits guide you. How's this for you? You must be careful. Messy one. Soul satellite! Satellite!
What's the meaning of fate? You shall know. You should try to learn to use your power a little better.
Without star.
The main event!
Light it up. What a power to the earth! See what I'm really made of.
Uh-oh. Pleased to meet you.
The honor was mine.
I'll settle that.
I'm shaking here.
Bow down before my psycho power.
We've solidified the top 8 here in the Capcom Pro Tour for the North American West Region Qualifier number 1. You guys have been tuning in to the entirety of these matches in top 16. Vicious here with Ultra David. We kind of want to talk to you about some of our favorite moments in the top 16. A lot of it has been pretty surprising in terms of the results, right? We've seen 2-0s across the board throughout the entirety of the day. David, how did you feel about our matches?
Yeah, I was surprised to see that many 2-0s. Many times in the West when we have tournaments, including weekly online stuff, it's a little hard to predict. So although some of the people who won I think weren't big surprises, the fact that so many of them were 2-0s I think was the only thing that really caught me off guard maybe. But as far as my favorite matches, I thought there were some really fun ones. Even still, Samurai versus Dankadillas I thought showed such fantastic control by Dank in that match. Especially versus somebody like Samurai, who has great movement, who has very difficult to predict choice making, and Dank just wasn't even in that mix-up range almost at all. So for me, that was one of the most standout performances of the night. I really liked Dank's play.
It's funny because I also think that in the losers run for Samurai, I think that was one of my favorite highlights was between Samurai and JB, seeing how unpredictable Samurai can be to take out a world caliber player like JB in the sense that, he still managed to find normals to thread the needle past JB's offense. And we've seen the kind of offense Rashid possesses, especially in the hands of JB, as well as keeping it ambiguous with the EX uppercut options. There's so many things you could take away from both sets, right, in terms of control, right, and then as well as any defensive maneuvers that you can take as a player and really mixing up those options very well. I think overall, those are our 2 favorites. But there's been so many moments. It's been tough to call. As in which ones, at least, are our favorites, personally.
I really liked, I was really impressed by Mira. No surprise on that.
Oh, yeah.
She's super, super good. Congrats to her on making the top 8. Her, again, starting off from ranges that are, possible to blow up, but are you expecting it at that range? And so she started off the mix-ups and never overextended, really. But her mix-ups, when she did get going, were super, super strong. That's what you expect from a top-level Laura, so I think that what really stands out to me is definitely the ranges that she started off from and the kind of patience that she had in looking to get those things going without feeling like she needed to rush it too hard.
One of the players I do want to highlight as well was Filipino Man, especially in the matchup against someone like Luigi, who has been dominating a lot of the scene with his guile lately, really climbing up the ranks and showing how to shut down Luigi with a character like Rose. I mean, it could have very well been unfamiliarity with the character, possibly. But for the most part, Filipino Man was still at that point where it's like, okay, I have to learn this new character. It's still a significant difference than what I was used to. but not by much. But the fact of the matter is, he still managed to take it down over Luigi, which is still impressive in and of itself.
Yeah, I'm really happy to see Filipino Man doing this. He's such a talented player, and I'm happy for him that he's found something in the game that he really enjoys. That's an extremely important part of this, and it looks like he's there. As far as Stupendous, his path through versus Akita, that match was very interesting. The decision to jump or not, it was one of just a couple of 2-1 matches that we had, so it was actually on the closer end. That anti-air or not game was a huge part of that. Good choice to go with Seth. That's a character that I'm really glad that he's stuck with, because it's important to have counter picks when you play a character like Geef, and many, several other characters in this game. Having something that can help you in a tough matchup is super important. So we did see that from him. And then I'm also very interested in how Mortzy's defensive choices came out versus Stupendous. That wasn't a case of Stupendous never getting a chance. It was not a case of like Fang kept him out the whole time, or that Fang just snowballed and got the round. No, it was Stupendous actually finding EXSPD, heavy SPD, dashing forward in situations where he's plus and Fang has a 4-frame normal, so he could even get down medium punch as a meaty. But Mortzy had the defensive call right
Amazing
so many times.
Defense.
So many times.
Yeah, and that's been like the biggest blow up for that entire match, right? Mortzy just having the right calls on Stupendous, just really blowing up that offensive option. Because again, the chance was there and the opportunity was presented, but didn't get to make the most out of it. I think that's the greatest thing you can do, right? Even if you're, looking for something, okay, this is going to happen. This SPD is going to happen regardless. If you could clear your mind around that, it's like, okay, I'm going to just move on to the next step and make sure that I do not get SPD'd again. Did you see any back-to-back SPDs? Not really. Not often.
It's a good question. Yeah, I don't immediately recall that happening. Yeah, no, you're right. And I did see many SPDs into dash up regular grab. Geef in a world with V-Shift is more hesitant to do SPD than before, because V-Shift escape into punish is something everybody can do. So Geef will go more often for regular grab. Versus characters who don't have far back dashes, he can then get SPD and stuff. He can still continue it if they do V-Shift escape his regular grab. So that's more of a go-to. So we saw that after SPD, but as far as just the good old-fashioned EXSPD, I don't think that I did.
Yeah, not too many times. But we have talked about a little bit of the top 16 matches. Again, if you missed it, we highly encourage you guys to check it out. Top 8, right? Again, Nephew versus Chris CCH. Dankadillas versus Mira. Then down below, Filipino Man versus Samurai, and then Mortzy versus Commander Jesse. David, which one of these matches are you looking forward to the most?
I'm just going to stick with Dankadillas versus Mira. Are you going to do the same?
No, I'm going to say Filipino Man and Samurai, because that is a loser's run.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. Amazing that those players ended up in loser's side. It just shows you the strength of the region. For me, again, I was so impressed by Dank's neutral control, and that's going to be extremely important in his match versus Mira's Laura. Going to be extremely important. And for Mira's side, her, again, the patience that she often showed and then turned it into such extremely strong offense, that's going to be really important in that matchup as well. So they both, in their top 16 performance, showed things that are going to be basically what the match is all about in top 8.
The reasoning behind my pick is very, very shallow. I just want to see Rose versus Akuma. And that's the truth. I want to see how Filipino Man has really navigated with this character against a huge threat in the roster, Akuma, in the hands of somebody like Samurai. So very excited to see it. Again, it's pretty much the only reasoning I have as to why I think it's one of my favorites. And, that's okay. We actually want to hear what you guys have to say at home as well. Which one of your matches, or which one of these matches are you looking forward to the most? Be sure to add us at Vicious FGC as well as at Ultra David, even at Capcom Fighters. Let them know which matches you are looking forward to. David, it's been an absolute pleasure. We are not even close to done yet. We still have the top 8 happening at the same time tomorrow. Any closing thoughts regarding these players in the top 16?
And who's not going to win it? Cammy. It's not going to be a Cammy victory, everybody. It's not going to be 3 out of 3. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, but it's not going to be a 3 out of 3 for Cammy. It's going to be a new character, and of all characters, Dalsum has 1/4 of the top.
Yeah, that is very true. Very excellent observation, as expected from you, David. I appreciate you, man.
Dude, it's always fun.
Always fun. And for those of you at home, we hope you guys had as much fun as we did. For now, It has been an absolute pleasure. You guys do not want to miss the other events going down. I know you guys have seen little snippets of it, but here's the breakdown. Asia East #1 happening May 15th that weekend. And as well, you know, the registration period is happening for the South America West. And then shortly after that is Brazil #1. The registration period is between those dates 10 to 17, as well as, you know, pretty much now until May 24th, really, for all of these events. You guys do not want to miss it. For more information on that, CapcomProTour.com is where you need to go. And even in between, 22nd and 23rd, again, Red Bull Kumite happening in London.
That's going to be a blast. All of these are going to be a blast. Street Fighter V has such good players in every single region.
And it's in such a good place right now with the
game's
balance.
so fun, dude. It really is a blast right now.
So we hope you guys have enjoyed. Again, be sure to follow all of the Capcom fighters in every single social media platform, as well as checking out CapcomProTour.com. That's going to be enough for all of us here. We're already excited for Top 8, but until then, we will see you. And from now, keep on playing Street Fighter V.